Hi there.
Everyone, welcome to Arsenal Fan Circle here. You're all welcome. Pull up a chair. I'll get to Alonso first. Welcome, Alonso, to the Thursday Night Forum.
Hi guys. How you doing? Ray and
Good.
Stan. I hope you guys are well. Yeah, so I hope we have a good podcast and hello everyone in the chat. Um, yeah, so
Yeah, check in with us, whoever you are, wherever you are from the world. Let us know where you're coming in from. Stan, how you been? How you doing? A week since Arsenal last played at the weekend.
Yeah, good evening, Ray. Good evening, Alonso. I'm not bad. Still got a dodgy back and a bad neck. Still trying to get around those kinks in my bad back. But other than that, not bad. But what an exciting, well, is the right word exciting? What a wow time for football at the moment.
Yeah, there's a lot. There is a lot going on in the world. I guess we can touch on that first thing. I think you were talking about a little bit earlier, Stan, and how that affects the dynamics of this season. And Alonso, we're talking about the Manchester City stuff. So we can talk about Manchester City today. We'll talk about the Brentford game coming up, and I think a lot of things have gone our way this season. I think we've taken advantage of them, of all those things that have happened. I think we can talk about, failing upwards. What do you call it? Falling upwards, or whatever it is. Failing up, Stan.
Happy accidents. I still
Happy
prefer.
accidents, all of those things. But we have been good enough to take advantage of all those things. I think we'll talk about Gabriel Jesus, maybe Reece Nelson, Emil Smith-Rowe, and Zinchenko named Player of the Month for Arsenal.
There was
Get
also
into the Brentford.
and also there was an interesting interview that we both watched, wasn't there, about the our captain.
Odegaard.
Worth,
Yeah.
be worth taking a look
Alonso, I don't know if you caught up with that Odegaard YouTube video.
I did not watch it yet. Sorry,
Okay.
guys.
You may have seen a lot of stuff as well, but Stan, let's talk about Odegaard then real quick. He come across as very likable, right? A captain, and he's got lots still to do with Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, there was a part of me that was saying, please don't come out with ever since I was a little boy. But he did say that every time he sort of sounded more plausible, didn't he? He said that every time when he was a little bit younger, he'd play FIFA and then he would sign himself. He would play as Arsenal and he would sign himself to the Arsenal team. And why not? Why not? So, and he did talk about visiting Arsenal, didn't he? And meeting with Arsene Wenger.
Yeah.
But I suppose, a young kid who's really loves football, it's hard to say no to Real Madrid. And, who knows what promises they may have sold him. And it sounds like he went away on loan, and a couple of times they'd ask him to come back, and he'd say, okay, now we're going to get ready. And he'd have a couple of games, and there'd be lots of big gaps. I mean, they've got a lot of stars at that team that they've got to get into that midfield, So it's not surprising that he couldn't really get much game time. And I think it's quite lucky for us that when we managed to get Martin Odegaard on loan, I think that gave him an opportunity to see what it was like at Arsenal. And I know that he had some critics in his first season of the loan, but I always felt and always knew that there was a really good player in there. And for what he done on loan, it could obviously be built upon. And remember at the time when we were looking for a player to come in and fill in that position, there was James Maddison, wasn't there, at almost double the fee from Leicester. And then there was also another popular choice in Emi Buendia. And I'm really glad that that Mikel Arteta managed to pull the strings, and obviously Edu as well, getting Real Madrid to part and with him. And you've got to think, right, that Real Madrid must be looking over now, thinking, how did we let this one slip through our fingers and for that fee? So a very good bit of business. Evening, Gary.
Hello, Stan.
Gary.
Hello, Ray, Lonzo. Everybody in the chat. Hello.
We're talking about that Odegaard video. Maybe you've had a chance to view it in the last couple of hours.
Yeah, I watched it, and then I also listened to who did I listen to? Oh boy, I forgot what podcast I was watching. But
A
he kind of went through
podcast.
it. He kind of went. Yeah, there was on a podcast. It was he went through it. Why can't I think of? Oh my god, my
It'll
name's
come to
gone.
you.
Harry?
But yeah, no, I watched it. Yeah, it was Harry. Yeah, Harry Simeon. Yeah, he went through it.
Chronicles of a Gooner.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So I listened to him talk about it as well. It was no, it was good. It was good to see it, and it's for all the players that have come through, former captains or captains, wherever they come. He's pretty much been the one that's done it, right? Done it here, and Arteta saw something in him, and we all. I know I definitely second guess Arteta on many things, but he's been right about most of the things that he's done. The things that he hasn't done
Yep.
is because he's still new to this thing called managing in the Premier League, but he's done pretty good with that one. Um, so yeah, no, yeah, that's all I can say. Yeah, he's he is what we
Yes.
wanted. He is what we wanted. I mean, I think, like I said, when he first got the armband, it was still Jacques' team in a sense that Jacques definitely was probably more of the voice you heard, the actions you saw, and gradually we've seen over the last what number of months definitely him be a lot more vocal, and I think the team goes as he goes.
Yep.
So uh, he's got a lot more influence now, and it's just a matter of time, I guess. And like anything else, Arsenal wanted us to wait, and I always say I didn't want to wait that long, but
Yeah.
they made us wait, and so far it's been good. All right.
Yep.
So
Definitely. Hopefully we only have to wait a few more months. BX gonna good evening, everyone. Welcome. Uh, Alonso, I'm right there with you. I've been sick the last 2 days. Feel better. You got a Super Bowl coming up. Yeah, so thanks for stopping by, BX Gunner. Stan said the price we got Erdegaard now, 30 million plus.
yeah,
Not much when
yeah,
you consider the price is going around for an attacking midfielder with some creativity and vision in his legs and his eyes. You're looking at double that now with today's prices. So
if it
Erdegaard,
I don't think it. I mean, I don't know if you can tell, but it doesn't seem like they might miss the money, but they don't miss the success, right? They've been fine.
yeah, Madrid have been fine. Erdegaard coming from a small town, Drammen, and he needed to take a couple of loans at a young age. These are the value of loans for a player that is young.
Yeah,
Needed to go out and play. He couldn't establish himself in the Real Madrid 2 side even,
yeah.
and
It's a. I've listened. Don't know if you listen to James Rowe. He's basically always talked about loans being where players basically grow up, get more mature. One, because if they're not ready for the first team, the loan gives them the platform to grow as a man, football player, an
Mhm.
adult, and they grow up pretty quickly, especially if they go out there with the right purpose in mind, the right plan. And when he came back and said, I did all these things, and at some point he just realized it's time to go.
Yeah,
And he said he talked to Ancelotti and basically said, you know what, you guys don't want me, and you can tell when somebody doesn't want you, right?
hmm hmm
Like when Arteta looks to the bench and doesn't call your number, your name, and the skill set they're looking for is yours, you probably know, right, that he doesn't feel he can do the job for him right now.
yeah,
So same thing probably with Ancelotti, and Ancelotti let him go, which is probably best for him. Both, it might have hurt Real Real Madrid a little bit, but it was best for the player, and that's what we always talk about teams doing things the right way and letting players go, and not kind of stunting their growth.
yeah. And as Gary said, Stan, a young player, he needed to play, he needed to establish himself. Became obvious at some point that he wasn't going to get his break in Madrid, but here's the reach of Arsene Wenger even now in 2023. The reach of Arsenal, the reach of Wenger. Arteta and the club has that pull for these players.
Also, as well with Martin Odegaard, because he's had loans in various places like the Netherlands and in Spain. I think he's not a sort of player that's going to be looking for the grass to be greener. He's kind of done a bit of traveling, and now he feels, I
Yep.
think, that he's found somewhere that's stable. Doesn't seem like a player that's going to be difficult to get to re-sign with us when that time comes. Obviously, if we're still playing well and we still have a good team around him, and making him captain I was a surprise that he was given that armband so quickly. But it seems to have been a good thing. I was a little bit unsure because he's quite a quiet lad. He's very soft-spoken, but it seems to be a very good choice. And I think at the time as well, a lot of the fan base was hoping that maybe Kieran Tierney was going to get the armband. But look how things change now. He's not even really a first-name starter anymore, Kieran Tierney. But I'm really pleased with the signing of Martin Odegaard, and I think did we pay cheaper for him than we did for Teabag? By a few million.
Slightly less. Yep.
Good bit of business.
Definitely.
And it's also funny because, I think Odegaard handpicked his lieutenants also, so he's able to do that as well. But yeah, I think whenever Odegaard came up, whenever he was younger, there was a lot of hype around him too, being the next young European young talent. But I think Arteta also had faith in him because he also wants to captain that player who has kind of material, but also knows he's going to stick around for a long time.
Yep.
Because in the past, you pick players that could be on their way out, and we don't have any stability as being captain. So we're able to do that eventually as well. So I think Arteta saw way before how talented Odegaard can be. And, I think that loan was just a rehearsal for him to be a full-time starter at Arsenal because I think Arteta knew when he got him on loan what kind of player he was going to be. He keeps at that.
Yeah. Trust the process. Stan's new line of Etsy Arsenal merch out there.
Well
Gary, as Stan rightly said, young players, and you said it as well, young players need to go out, mature, get that chance. And you also said, Gary, we thought Xhaka was visually the captain in his actions on the field before kickoff, but Odegaard, it seems to have faded into the background, and Odegaard, through his play, not necessarily what he's been doing before the whistle goes at the start of the game, his play has shown that he can be more of a captain on the field with influence,
Yep. And before I start, like Tony has joined us, and yes, Tony has to go through a lot of challenges, and today is another challenge for him. So, happy to see him in the chat.
Definitely.
Hope he's smiling wherever he is, as it seems he might be in the
send
hospital.
Send your best wishes out to Tony here in the chat box, because he needs your encouragement. He needs your strength as well. He's a strong person himself, but everybody needs some help, some words of encouragement. So Tony, stay strong. There's everybody has trials ahead, but you've got a lot of more trials than seems many other people do. Gary?
No, definitely. Yep. Big up, Tony.
And whether he's getting a sponge bath, preferably. We need a sponge bath.
We'll see how lucky he is. Yeah.
So, Odegaard.
Yes.
We're lucky to have him
in
the team, especially at the price that we got him. Even 2 years ago, it was pretty much a bargain.
No. I mean, for when you're looking at what the prices cost for a player with his skill set, I mean, I think there was what was it? He's in the top 5 of players that nutmeg people or something like that. I forgot what it was. It was a stat, and so there's some big names up there with him. So yeah, he's got a really good skill set, and he still has room to grow, right? I mean, as much as I'm happy with his growth, I still screamed at him at the last game on the corner, and which means he's still got a little bit more space to grow, which is good, because I think as much as we are happy with where we are ahead of schedule. Once again, nobody thought we would be this far ahead of schedule, right?
Hmm.
but we're here, so might as well take advantage, right? So
Yep.
no, he's been good to see, and like I said, for me, I want more from him still, and I still feel like he's got more to give. So I want more
You-
from him in the sense that when we need something, like we needed something in the last match, I want somebody to stand out just for even for 5 seconds, because maybe
Yep.
that's all we need, and maybe we get the goal that we need with that kind of those actions. So yeah,
Yeah. When you need something, you need to turn a potential draw, a loss, into a draw. These are the type of things you need. We would have liked an extra point on Saturday, but maybe we're being slightly greedy. We are ahead of schedule. We're top of the league. Alonso, one final point on Erdegaard, and go ahead.
Yeah, the fact that he picked, Xhaka and Gabriel Jesus, one's a proven winner, one has been in this situation before, and Xhaka, who's been around for a long time at Arsenal, and maybe Udegaard has Xhaka step his game up a little bit, knowing we're in this title race. It's not perfect, but so far so good, and you're seeing the benefits of maybe Xhaka's leadership or his voice in the locker room rub off on Udegaard. The way we wanted him to when he first got here, me and Xhaka. So to me, having
Froze. Yeah, let me fill in a little bit as well for Alonso. I think
Could I say one
as
little point as well? I mean, he's
yeah,
24 years old, and he's already a captain of quite a very big club, which is
mhm,
quite a weight there to handle and a responsibility. I can only imagine what this guy is going to be doing when he's like 27 years old.
yeah.
When
I
he's
was
in
going to touch
his
on
prime,
something
he's
similar.
27, 28. He's going to be unbelievable.
Hmm. Going to touch on something similar as well. As you said, Stan, he's done a lot of traveling. He's been to Real Madrid. He's been to the Dutch league. Been with Real Sociedad, and now he can really push ahead and feel at home in London. I think he feels Arsenal is a good fit for his skill set, and he can push forward with this team now. So, a really nice interview from Erdegaard, and hopefully, as Gary said, we see a little bit more in these difficult games. When we needed a moment against Everton, we didn't get it, unfortunately. Now we're in this situation where we do need to step up against Brentford. But quickly, we're going to pivot to the Manchester City talk real quick. The city under investigation. Investigation has been going on for 4 years. I don't think very much will happen in terms of sanctions. If you're waiting for a points reduction to help Arsenal this season, it's not going to happen immediately. I think this will drag on into the summer and pretty much won't affect our season. And it shouldn't really. Many want to win it on the field anyway. So don't wait around for points deductions from this season. We've got 5 points ahead of City with a game in hand. So that's that for this season. Does anyone want to talk about in relation to this season? We can go deeper in terms of the last 9 seasons.
Well, first of all, before we say anything, these are only, in case any lawyers are
Allocate.
watching, these are just accusations that have been leveled at Manchester City. We know none of this to be true, and we are not saying they're guilty, and
The
we're
old
just
disclaimer.
speculating and talking about what could or might happen. So, and he runs the channel as well.
All
So,
inquiries to Arsenal Circle. Okay. With that
but
being said,
I think obviously we're going to talk about if should these allegations be true, what does it mean exactly? And wow, I think this is a really big thing. You only have to look at what happened with Rangers. I don't know the ins and outs of what happened with Rangers, but it's the equivalent of them being one of the big two in Scotland, them and Celtic, huge reputation, years of championships in Europe as well in their older days, and I can't remember what the ins and outs of it were, but whatever they did, they got relegated 3 or 4 divisions, didn't they? They went all the way down to the end division in Scotland.
Yeah.
And then you look at Juventus, and again, I don't know what the ins and outs of what they've done, but they've had a serious points deduction. But I mean, looking at the situation of Man City, it's almost like that episode of Dallas when Pam got up and went in the shower. When she came out of the shower, everything had been a dream, and Bobby was still alive. I feel like I'm Pam. I feel like I've got up, got into the shower, but instead of like Bobby being alive, it was all a dream. And the last 9 years have been never really happened in the
Never
Premier
happened.
League.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you're talking about, I mean, does that mean that we should be in the Champions League this season? Because we really finished in 4th. Because at the end of the day, you know, if these accusations are true, what does it mean? It means that they've had an unfair advantage. They've been able to skew what their incomings are to allow them to be able to make big bids for really big players. And how many players from Arsenal have Manchester City pinched over the years? Quite a few, right? Gal Clichy, there's one. Sami Nasri, there's another. Yeah, Torre, there's another one.
I mean, Arsene Wenger,
They didn't come and take our rubbish players, did they? They didn't take our rubbish players. They took players that were doing really well for us. So, I mean, I look at it this way. I mean, it's a sport. It's a game. Everybody should be playing by the same rules. It should be a level playing field for all. And it sounds like because of the way that they've been skewing, if these allegations are true, from what these over 100 charges are, it means that they've been able to have an unfair advantage over the rest of the teams in the Premier League because they haven't been playing by the rules. Not the weird thing is, but this is an investigation that's gone on for 4 years by the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? And it's going to be judged by the Premier League. And you would think that, you know, if Manchester City say that they're looking forward to their day in court to sort everything out and they're happy that this is happening, and, you know, I'm paraphrasing from their statement, then don't drag your feet. You've got the power to produce all of the evidence when asked. You can get this all swept under the table. You can clear your name, and then you can show that the Premier League, you know, acted with impunity and didn't have just cause to besmirch your name. If you've got nothing to hide, just give full access and lay it all out there. But, you know, you're seeing things like managers having their wages topped up by other companies, players' contracts not really what they are and being topped up by other incomes. That's fraudulent. I mean, if you break some of these charges down, it's not just breaking the rules of the Premier League. Some of it looks like it could be breaking the law.
Yeah, you've got these shell companies created to fund sponsorship deals. And everything's going through, you know, unqualified sources, let's say. Gary, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm going to finish by saying I don't know how you unpick it all, because if they are found guilty of the crimes, you know, a fine's not good enough because they've got a lot of money. A points deduction, even if they started -20, they could probably still finish in Europe.
Yeah.
So if they are to be, you know, expelled from the league and relegated, then surely that means that the last 9 seasons that they've been involved in this actions, how does that stand for? Well, I should have won this league. I should have been in Europe. If our team finished in this position, we would have got more money. We didn't get that money. We got, you know, how are you going to unpick it all? And the Premier League is supposed to be the best league in the world.
I mean, not that they're going to do it. The easiest thing to do would be to declare these seasons null and void.
Or they've got to play all the games again on Football Manager.
City didn't win. City didn't win all those league titles, but I've got no confidence, Gary, that any of this will be done by the Premier League, and they'll probably look for the easiest way out here.
Yeah, there's too many
loopholes.
It's too much to clean up.
Yeah.
So no matter what they do, unless they're going to throw the book at the culprit, nothing's going to happen, right? I mean, it's
then why dig it up?
Well, no, I don't think they dug it up, but I think why they even decided to bring it to light, right? But I think it's those stolen emails, right? That's not. I don't think it's something where that information is out there somehow, right? So these stolen emails or whatever it is,
I
showing
see.
showing. So they have to do something, but they're all they're doing is just saving face, right? They're not doing anything to actually go out and go full force and do something because the ramifications, as you've already explained, are too much. This affects pretty much any team that was in the Premier League and teams that have been relegated, right?
Hmm.
Think about all those teams that have been relegated that were sitting 17th, right?
Yeah,
They
it's
might have
too
not been
much.
17th, right? They might have been, sorry, 18th. They might have been, they might have been 17th if things went their way. If they didn't play
Mhm.
City with a squad that is made up of all the players that they had, right? I mean, we're talking points here. So I kind of feel like they have to do something, but they don't. They if they do something, when do they stop? Right? When do they stop? Because the ultimate, like, do you just punish City and then let everybody else just live with the ramifications of what City did?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I mean, yeah,
That
as you
seems to
said,
be
if you
most
null and
likely.
void their seasons and their trophies, then what? So for what 6 years there was no Premier League winner.
Winners.
There
Yeah,
weren't any, EFL winners. There weren't any FA Cup winners, right? There's a lot of money involved in all this stuff as well. So on top of just the trophies being lost, there's a lot of money in the Premier League. Where does that money go? Do they get the money back? Does
Get your
the
receipt
FA
back.
say, can I get the money back now because you shouldn't have had any of this money in the first place? I mean, I was listening to a City player talking, and he's like, there's not much they can do until they find out. But if they do, then they better do something. If they don't do anything, then, well, as you say, this is all for naught. All right.
yeah.
And then there's other people like, well, how is City so wealthy when they don't have a fan base to support those numbers, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's like 100 times difference between them and like United in terms of the fan base. I saw somebody
yeah.
quoted,
You
and
can't
and
even fill
was
their stadium. They can't even fill their stadium,
so
Gary.
how do they? Yeah. So how do they bring in that much money, right? And
And they're
so
supposed
there's a
to
lot.
be the
So they the worst they can do is
They get
punish
things in there like the
City.
biggest shirt sponsorship deal ever in the world football because it's coming
Yeah.
for a company
yeah. I
that
mean, they're supposed to be the
is
richest
somehow
club,
connected.
Yeah. It's
richest club in
it's
the
a
world.
yeah. It's one of those things where they we all probably believe they're going to do nothing. We're all going to be
I
upset
don't.
Yeah.
because they're going to do nothing.
There's some.
because
There will
because
be
they because they
something.
don't
The
they don't want
minimum
to. Yeah, the minimum, like what, a
will
10
happen.
a 10
No,
million pound fine
no,
fine that's nothing. A
no,
100 million pound
15
fine,
points.
that's
no.
not
It's
enough.
going to be more
You know,
than that.
not no, no, that's what I'm saying.
It
There,
should be.
like,
No,
there's
it
there's
will be.
probably a
It's going to
billion
be.
a billion
Okay.
pounds worth of like fraudulence going on, right? When you add it all up, the trophies, the money that comes with it, how much has affected everybody else. I mean, come on. I mean, it's big business, right?
There's no way I believe that this is going to get swept under the carpet or a very minimum slap on the wrist or a minimum fine. The Premier
So, what
League,
do you think is
right?
strong enough, Stan?
They spent 4 years digging into this, right? And then they brought it to light. Over 100 charges. They could have, if they wanted this to be a small thing, then they would have squashed all the charges down and said there's a few charges. Look, we looked at it. They really seem to me that they want to make an example. And you have to remember as well that at the moment, isn't there like a white paper in Parliament about football should be regulated? This is in the United Kingdom. Now, the
Mhm.
last thing that the Premier League want is any kind of regulation and
Yep.
other people being overbearing and saying, right, you should be doing this, you should be
They
doing it
don't want.
like that.
You're right.
I think that this is, I'm not saying all of it, but it could be also to show an example. Look, we can clean our own house. Thank you. Look what we've just done. This is the
Yeah.
biggest team and nobody is beyond reproach. And this is what we found, and you have to remember that with the UEFA thing, they were initially going to get banned for 2 seasons in the Champions League, and I think it was like a 30 or 40 million euro fine. But some of the allegations against them were time barred. Things happened too far away that they weren't allowed to get into because of time, which is different for this investigation. So it's kind of like they got off with a technicality and only got fined 10 million for taking their time to comply and hand things in at certain times. And as Jose Mourinho said, if you're not guilty, then there should be no fine at all. If you are guilty, then there's a punishment. How can you be not guilty? And he said, I'm not throwing this at Man City, more about the system that they're using. How can you say someone is not guilty, but then they still get a fine? They're either guilty or they're not guilty. So I think that they're going to throw the book at Man City, that they've done a thorough investigation. They've made sure that all of the things that stop them, getting done by UEFA have now been fixed so that there's no technical breaches. And that's why they're, over 100 charges. They're making sure that it's going to stick. And I think they want to show that they're going to clean house.
Yeah.
And if they do that, then they have to follow through with the punishment. They can't do all of that and then go 10 million or 10 points docked.
115 charges, and Stan, you're right. They will want to not have somebody overseeing some oversight on this. They will want to be seen to be dealing with this themselves so the government does not step in. They do not want that. My worry is that they will go somewhere in between a very lenient penalty and a very heavy penalty. Something like 15 to 20 points deduction starting next season and fines, You're dead right in saying all of those things. I'll go to Alonso next in a second here. Relegate them to the bottom tier of English football and cap their spending to what the champions spent the season before. Dock 50 points this season. That's a lot. Alonso, what's your initial thoughts on this?
Nice round figure.
Nice round figure. The league cannot be soft on them. What they did was, as Stan said, criminal fraud, and they have cheated other clubs out of potential money if they get away with it. It's a free-for-all. Alonso, your initial thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think back to whenever City beat Arsenal in the League Cup final and how much of a big gap there was between the clubs, right? And it's like, wow, what could have been if we had that money? Anyway, yeah, I mean, I think that they should be used as an example of you can't really do those things in English football. And it'd be kind of interesting to see if they do the Rangers move on them and send them down to the lower league, because that's a punishment I think is fit. And point deduction it's not bad. Yeah, they're gonna lose trophies, but whatever. I think the fine's crap. I think it should just go down just like some club, and I think that would be the best thing for everyone. I think they should get punished harshly.
Haaland most certainly is gone if guilty. A lot of Man City players will be leaving if found guilty.
How can you attract new players, right? If it gets sorted out really quickly. So there were two ways to look at it. If it gets sorted out really quickly and there's a hefty punishment and they get relegated, they're not going to be able to attract good players and they'll lose their good players.
They have hired a high-powered lawyer to deal with this, to delay it. It's going to run right into the summer.
Right, if you delay it, right? Let's say you delay it, try and drag it out for 2 to 4 years. Meanwhile, you try and sign a top player. The top player comes to see you, and you're like, right, we love you. We're going to pay you all this money. We're going to give you a 5-year contract. At some point, you're going to have to say to the club, if you're the player or their representation. So what happens if you do get relegated when this thing? That's a sticky conversation. I don't know if a lot of players would want to get involved in any of that. Would want to risk any of that, and you know what?
You put an escape clause.
I've got Liverpool. It's easier.
Put a clause in your contract. You can escape if that happens. You know what I mean?
It's all messy, though, isn't it? It's all very it's untidy. It's not. By then, the manager probably would have left. It's a different manager. Pep probably would. If it gets to that sort of stage, Pep might go, you know what? I can't afford to be tarnished with this reputation anymore.
Yeah. Stephen said also if they slap them on the wrist, the lawsuits against the league from the other clubs will be coming thick and fast. The league has no choice but to nail them to the wall. Gary, this is something it's been the worst kept secret probably in the league.
Yes.
We may have we probably knew Man City was doing all of this. They were
Well,
escaping financial fair play
yep.
over the years.
Well, everybody. I mean, the other part to this is City the only one that does this? Is there other teams out there are also taking shortcuts, right?
Chelsea,
Because you
yeah,
know what I mean. Like, so if they, you know, that's the other part to this. Could any team, any of these big six teams, be part of this, right? Maybe Arsenal's hasn't done it as full as all the way that City has. You know what I mean? So I kind of feel like one either they like this is what I guess people talk about, the states and being overbearing and all of that. That's why they have some of these rules in there so that the owners can't get in trouble as much,
hmm
right? And
hmm
that's why they put the rules in there. And they, it seems crazy, but sometimes that they're going to they're going to go 100% one way. It's like they went 100% with what they were doing if they did it. And at some point, you have to curb it. How do you do that? I don't know. It is.
by
It's just that.
setting the example, as Stan is saying.
Yeah.
So when
They
Gary
haven't.
said that,
They
you know,
haven't. They haven't even done like the easy things, right?
Yeah,
Like the easy things that are common sense stuff, like like the like racism type things that have happened on pitches and stuff like that. They haven't wanted to fix those, right? They can't. They can barely fix. We believe that the officials aren't competent to do their job. They're not fixing that, right?
strong
It's pretty.
suspicion.
It's pretty clear to the world that the English officials aren't anywhere close to, at least in the eyes of the world, at a level with the
Yeah,
other
they don't
European,
get
for
World Cup.
example, managers.
Yeah,
So they don't feel like they bring the same kind of quality there, and they don't
hmm
want to fix that. That's an easy one, right?
yep.
That's an easy one to fix. They want to fix that. There's things that they haven't done. So why would I think they're going to do this one? They're going to screw this one up, you know?
regulation, I think. And
Well,
like when you said as well, is Arsenal the only club? Oh, sorry, is City the only club that's doing it? I would say, when George Graham got caught for accepting brown paper bags with money in, do you think that he was
Yeah,
the only manager that was involved in doing that kind of thing at the
yeah,
time?
yeah,
There's no way, but
yeah.
you got to start somewhere. Maybe it starts at Man City and it moves to Chelsea next. Didn't they look
The
at us as
message.
well? Didn't they look at us last season? We were scrutinised by them for financial fair play last season. But
meanwhile, they were looking at them, right? Meanwhile, they were looking at them, but we're in the news for something we may have done
Yeah,
because
but
we're breaking our
we
program.
probably weren't cooking the books as Man City were allegedly cooking the books.
the breaching of the FFP for them, that's one of the smaller charges. The bigger charges is the falsifying of financial records
returns.
through
Yeah,
their many affiliations with sponsorships, which are somehow affiliated to the owners, allegedly. I don't know the ins and outs,
Yeah.
and things like topping up player contracts and manager
yeah,
contracts.
Yeah.
These are the things that, and also as well during the times that they've been investigated, is always having an excuse for dragging their feet. Putting everything into the long grass, not giving the information
not
on time.
cooperating as well has been one of the charges.
Yeah.
And it's not a good look.
I've heard
Just,
people.
just get it all. Just give all the information up and try and clear your name if you've got
Mhm.
nothing to hide. But
Yeah.
I do think, though, just to round off, I do think that the Premier League are looking to make an example, and they're going to make an
Yeah.
example of Man City.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as Stan said, Newcastle may be tempted to do this in the future. Chelsea may be tempted to do this. Other clubs may be tempted to do this.
Yep.
This could be a landmark moment where there's a cautionary tale here for other clubs who want to do
But
this.
I do think the Premier League have shot themselves a bit in the foot because they're the one bringing the charges. They're the one that have done the investigation. They're the ones that will put the panel together. If Manchester City want to appeal, they'll be appealing to them.
Yep.
Mhm.
So if they want to make an example out of them, and I kind of get that part of it, have they looked forward to that? Okay, now that we've made an example out of them and we've proven them to if these charges are correct, we've done all of these 115 breaches, which go right across the board. Have they then considered what they're going to have to do for the outcome, how they're going to deal with it. How does it make the integrity of the league look for almost a decade? 9 years is nearer to a decade to any other year. It's 10 years, basically. It means that, we hand back trophies, change photographs, change engravings on cups. This, it looks like Man United would have 3 more titles. Liverpool would have 3 more titles. I'm sure that Arsenal was in there for a League Cup, right, in them 9 years, somewhere along the lines, if I remember rightly. There's a League Cup in there that we've got to shout at. How do you?
2017.
That's why a lot. That's why.
How do you sort it out? And at the end of all of that, turn around and go to the rest of the world. This is a great league. This is the best league to be in.
I don't want to give Manchester United any more titles. I'd forgotten about the league.
Tottenham still don't win, I think.
I'd forgotten about the League Cup until Alonso and Stan mentioned the League Cup where we lost to Mustafi ducking out of that long ball and Aguero scoring. Gary?
Now, I've heard, I was watching a show and they were talking, I think it's on the Football Terrace. They were talking about on one side, it's like, let the owners spend all the money that they want. But on the other side, it's like, well, make sure the owners don't leave the club in a worse state, meaning that they just used it as a cash cow and just took funds out of it and didn't really show any ambition towards the club, right? So I think that was part of that conversation. I think it was Terry Flewers and Lee Gunner kind of going back and forth. And on one side, you want to let the owners spend all the money they want, and on the other side, you want not the teams not to get sabotaged and just the money being used as a means to funnel money out of the club without really growing the club anymore. And they're both bad both bad for the clubs, right? They're bad for kind of the integrity of the league in some respects, right? And we don't look at one side of it. We look at the other side of it, right? They both they both take away from this whole community feel that you have. And people talk about, I believe they talk about in the Premier League, like you have this community feel with the club. Everybody's, the community has a oneness with the club. And that's why, for me, I've always said when they started allowing all this this foreign money come into the league
without oversight,
you're corrupting what you built, right? So to go back and say this is kind of how it's always been, well, not really, not anymore. It's been changed now. As soon as you have others, outsiders basically coming in and running your clubs, because they're not really running it the same way you wanted it to be run. And the world's changing anyway. So what do? It's just the evolution of man. We kind of screw things up sometimes when it's a good thing. And you kind of have to live with the results, and that's kind of where we are right now.
Yeah, it's like if you pull at the thread, and all of a sudden you don't have a sweater, you don't have a jumper anymore because you keep pulling out that thread. BX going to put up a nice comment here. The 2014 Aguero Last Gasp winner now has an asterisk on it. For me, the greatest finish to a league season has always been 89 up at Anfield, and I've always sort of rankled a bit at that Aguero beating QPR, a team that's about to be relegated. You struggle to beat QPR to win the league. We went to Anfield and beat a Liverpool team. We had to win by 2-0 as well. So,
but Ray, you know what's going on here, right? Surely you must. I mean, I do love a good conspiracy theory, Loch Ness, Bigfoot, aliens, but you can see what is going on here, right? My reasoning for the football gods being involved in our success is getting more credence by the week. I mean, we slip up to Everton and the football gods roll their sleeves up, pull out the big guns, and come out of all this Man City shit out of nowhere.
Yeah.
They're like
it's like Moses and the Red Sea. It's just parting for us. Yeah. And all we have to do is walk. I say all we have to do is walk 18 games.
I'm always weary of this football god that we talk about, because I think he's got a weird humor about him. He's really humorous, and he might try to screw. Might really make people start laughing at us.
Final laugh, yeah.
That's why this whole partay scare, is it really a scare, or is it the football gods saying, "I got something for you"?
As long as you appease them. with prayer.
Associated with
sacrifice. It's all good.
Yeah.
Just
I
keep
hope
it
so. I hope
easy.
he's. I don't really pray, so I don't know what's going to happen.
I'm all for sacrificing Man City in our quest for a Premier League title for the first time in 19
Yeah.
years.
No, I
At the
think.
end of the day, I just say as well. I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't. You know, in all walks of life, for me, you know, it doesn't matter if it's video games or hopscotch. You know what I mean? You play a game, you
Play to
play the
win.
game fairly. Everybody plays by
Okay.
the same rules. So
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
No, I mean, I think we have what we need. I just don't want these
Good.
guys to go out there and they're
doesn't
gonna have
matter what
to.
the game is.
They're gonna have to
Yeah.
give us more than they're gonna have to give us 110% every time, everyone. You know, because I think
Yeah.
we do have enough. We have enough
What
to do what we want to get where we want to go.
one
We are.
one final thought then before we get into the Brentford game, Gary. Would you how are you feeling if you're a Liverpool fan right now, knowing what we know with Man City? You've fought Man City for five or six seasons.
Yep.
Right, you
That's
you
where
got to bring the
no
Liverpool angle.
you see
I was
this is why I said how this is why it's really
the angle.
like how much do you how much where did how much do they go how far do they go with this thing, because as you said, Liverpool had what probably one of their best seasons in terms of points,
3
got
titles, I
nothing
think.
for it, right? Got nothing for it, right? Because they
Yeah,
just were 1 point short, right?
98
So
points.
or whatever it was. So wow, right?
But Gary, let's say it wasn't Liverpool. Let's say it was
Yep.
Arsenal in
Yep.
those positions,
I'd be
and
sick.
as potentially 3 titles that we were pipped
It
for.
would be
How
a
would you
totally
feel
different
then?
story.
Yeah,
I can
sick.
actually. It's a different story
Gary's flying to
altogether.
London.
No, exactly. No. You better. I'll be knocking. I'll be knocking on
I'll be
Wayne,
flying.
N4.
I'll
Like,
be flying on the
give me
next
that
flight right
trophy.
behind you, my friend.
Give me that trophy.
In some ways, you know what
Would
we
you
know
even
now
want it?
over the
Would
last
you want it, Ray?
decade.
If that was us, pipped 3 times for the league by
I'd
City
be
by a
livid.
couple of points, and now
Yeah.
you find out over the last 9 years, you find out allegedly these are just allegations, but let's say
Yep.
it all turns out to be true, and you were
Yeah.
3 times you were. Would you think oh okay it is what it is, or would you be like
No,
no I want
That's why we can. That's why we are calm like this. If I'm a Liverpool fan, I'm not too happy about it.
no
Especially as you say, if they punish them even a little bit, I want mine.
Mm.
As soon as you punish them for a
Well,
little bit, then you're saying that they
I
did
think
something
all
wrong.
they're
And if
going
they
to
did
get.
something wrong,
you've done everything. Like, you know that when we played them, when we played all the other teams in that season, we done
Yep.
it the right way. We used our
Yep.
resources. We,
Yep.
you know, but they had an edge.
Yep.
They
Yeah,
had an edge that we never had.
Yep.
yeah.
So
We think about it. We all talked about this, right? We
if
all
true,
said, if you're going to build a club, how would you build it? Can you afford to build it like City? No. But can
Mhm.
you afford to build it like Liverpool? Yes, I can
Yes.
do that because it took a bit of time. They picked some really good winners in terms of transfers that they brought in, right?
Yep.
And they got them trophies,
but
got
they
them
had the
all the
money.
trophies that they wanted, right? I think they got all of the trophies. Yeah, they have all 4 of the trophies that are available to them, but they only
But they're
got
not.
one. They
But
only
they're
got
saying
one of
like,
each of the big ones.
but they're saying like, if we buy this player, we okay Premier League, we're playing this player X, but they're getting topped up from over here. That means that they're allowed to say we only spent X amount on our wages, therefore we can now afford to buy this player and add him
Yeah.
to because we only spent. And it turns out that it's all a bit grey. There's a big grey area there. That's cheating.
And look,
That's cheating.
Arsenal are as an Arsenal fan, I'm not going to look up to a City who are doing things that way. I'm not going to look up to a Chelsea who are inflating the market. As much as I hate to say Manchester United, although they are living within their means, this is why I
I
look
wonder
to
if Mikel
Liverpool.
knows where the holes are in the desert, where the
This
bodies
is
are
where I
buried.
look to Liverpool. This is where
like
I've looked
Henry
to
Hill.
Liverpool. And people say I'm like a secret Liverpool supporter, or
Yeah,
I
you brought it
admire
up.
what they've
I can
done over
only
the
I can
years.
only assume that is true because you did bring it up. Because why
I
would you
did.
bring that up? Because that's far from me. Because I wouldn't want to be in that place, right? Because like you say, that's a lot of trophies and maybe a lot of opportunities to be much better and maybe to get the maybe they could have gotten a what you call it, a double or triple, or
Yeah, yeah.
a quad or
Or
whatever. Man, think about it. They were that team
2 in a
was
row.
probably what, two
Repeated.
wins, 3 wins away from a quad, right?
Yep.
3 wins away from a quad,
Yeah.
knowing that the team that won the league may have had
At
a
least the
little help.
Had
treble.
an edge. They
Right.
had an edge, an unfair edge.
Madrid.
If it's true,
Madrid
right?
would have been difficult for the quadruple, but yeah.
No, but I think Madrid, if you watch both of the semifinals and the finals, there were opportunities for the opponent to get a win against them. They
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
you have to play 90 minutes.
Yeah.
You have to play 90 minutes in both of the games. The English teams didn't play 90 minutes, and that's why they got punished for it. Right. Same thing happened in the Premier League, right?
Yeah.
We watched it with the women, right? The women playing in their semifinals to go into the League Cup, right? They score an extra time. It's over. You got to play all the way through to the whistle, man. You got to run through the tape
Got to do it.
because
But
other
if
team.
if you're going to spend the
Um,
time and the resources for 4 years to bring up all of this, and to put on this big show, and then at the end of it all, you just sentence them to go and cut people's lawns for the weekend. You just look like what was the point of it all?
It's
There
just to
has to be an
showcase
end
like
game.
you're actually trying to do something. And
we
then-
watch this space in the summertime because it's going to drag out into the summer. Nothing's
gonna
going to
take a-
happen.
And
this
one
season.
last thing as well,
4
we say these
4 years to get
allegations are by the
here.
Premier League. Who is the Premier League? The Premier League. The Premier League
Yeah.
is all of the teams that make up the Premier League.
Well, that's why the other teams are being quiet for a good reason. Probably because there's a good reason. There's a
Okay.
good
Yeah.
reason why they are not saying anything. The
BX
20 teams that are in there, they have many, many, many. Should I say it again? Many reasons why they are not
reasons.
saying a word.
We'd like to call
Right.
the next next witness into the court, Raul
Right.
Sinyehi.
Tony needs some reasons for his leg, for his wheelchair as well. So let's hope there's many reasons
Yes,
going in for
exactly.
Tony as well.
Yes.
BX said, look at Red Bull. They have a great structure. Look, they do it the right way. They identify players. They're like a Brighton from the Premier League, or dare I say a Brentford from the Premier League. Identify players that can come in and they can sell high. It's these roles that mess it up, owning teams for bragging rights, and in many cases, sports washing as well. Being involved in a sporting enterprise to enhance your image. What really got me this week was the Balogun talk. I couldn't believe there was talk of even keeping him. I would keep him, BX Gunner. I would not sell Balogun. If you want a third striker, you have one on your books.
And not only that, he might be better than your second striker.
What if he treats it
Maybe better.
exactly? What if he's yeah? Give that just little. I want to,
He
throw them
is-
two into a room.
his-
Whoever comes out,
His skill set is better than Nketiah's
Yeah,
I'd like to see
in the
that
sense
fight.
that he can score from outside 6 yards, right?
I think
He can hold up the ball. I believe he's probably a little bit. He may not have filled into his body yet, but I believe he's happy to hold up the ball with his back to goal.
I
Right?
think-
We've seen like the first time we saw him in the Europa League game. I'm like, that's what we want from a striker.
Yeah.
Can we get some more of that?
I
And
think
they
he's
never saw
got
him
a
again.
combination of Kevin Campbell's physique and maybe Ian Wright's finishing. It remains to be seen, but
Yeah. Have you seen like the volley he scored? He scored, right? The
Yeah.
volley he scored.
yeah.
Anybody ever thought that Nketiah would do that? Is that even in his repertoire? Right.
Well, hey, stop the presses. And Nketiah has been good for the last 8
No,
or 9
but
games.
we're comparing
Yeah,
that's why I'm saying he's probably not at the maturity in terms of a Premier League striker as Nketiah is, but his skill set is right now superior
Mhm.
in a sense of it's still not mature, but he brings a lot more things to the table, right? That's like saying, Saka 2 years ago, you knew there was somebody there, he just hadn't played enough, and he needed more time on the pitch,
yeah,
or he needed to fine tune certain things, all right?
yeah.
I mean, because same thing with Saliba is considered really good for us, right? But is he our best full center back? No, he's not our best center back. You take Gabriel out. Gabriel plays every game. Why? Arteta is comfortable with having him back there. Arteta shows you exactly.
I'm not having this
What is going-
conversation right
Yes,
now.
you are. Yes, you are.
You're
Gabriel
trying
is
to find
a big,
something we've not differed on many things lately, and you're trying to find something. I'm
No, no,
not
no. I'm
going
trying to
there.
find something. I believe that is true.
We can park
You
this for
look at
another
yeah.
podcast.
All right, all right.
I yes, Gabrielle. I don't think there's a competition because they complement each other. Let me just say that. But we'll
Trying to
park this
you're
one.
just trying to go play. You're just playing in a neutral over here. I
Mental
see what you're
note.
gonna
Mental note. Me and Gary
put
can
it,
talk about
make a note in
Gabrielle.
there about this. No,
I
I think
believe
Balogun.
that.
There's something for me. There's if you're not going to play him, then you need to sell him for the top monies. All right. Because if you bring him
Hmm.
in, he has to play. If you're not going to play him, don't waste the man's time. I don't like when we waste players' time. Right?
I listen. We're
We
gonna
bring them
play
back. We bring them back
four
because they.
four competitions, three
Yeah.
strikers. We can do this next
And
season.
we already know that Jesus, depending on what game we're playing, doesn't need to play up top.
Yeah,
Because in
exactly.
certain games, we're going to have control of it no matter who we put up
Yeah,
there, right?
exactly. BX said, "I'm all for Balogun staying. It was the talk to sell that got me. Why would you
Yeah.
sell something only when you need to buy something else? You know what I mean? You have a player right
Yeah.
there
We need,
underneath your nose.
think about it. If we're talking about buying Rice and Casado, for example, in the summer, it's going
You
to
got
cost,
money.
that's going
Yeah,
to cost a lot of money. It's going to cost
yeah.
probably about what we typically spend in a summer almost if we get rate across the coals, as they say, because we are really bad in the transfer market, right? But if we can get like if Casado is less than what if he's what we had offered the first time,
Mhm.
right?
70. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ish.
and Rice is, you know, not in the 6 digit mark or whatever it is, or what is it, 7 digit, 9 digit mark or whatever.
Oh,
Then
you're talking about over 100 million.
yeah,
Seven,
so
seven
if
figures.
those are the two play like if you were trying to say, you know what, I want my midfield for the future, and I want to make sure our midfield is solid for a while, then you got to spend a
Mhm.
lot of money. So and can you afford to keep like a player that might be worth 50? If you can't get 50 for him, then you're not going to sell him for 20 just because that team can't afford him. That's the part that no, you can't do that.
Mhm.
Right? You can't do that. Like, and do you loan him out if you can, like you say, if you can use him?
Yeah,
If you can
exactly.
use him, the problem I have is, will you use him? We don't rotate our players now. We need to.
Yeah, I think that's an evolution that we need to get
No,
to.
but we need to do it
Obviously.
anyways, regardless. Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
cannot have gone through. We're in our fourth year of Arteta now. We cannot be having people on the bench. There's no more passengers. No matter how, you have to find a way to get them on the pitch so you can rotate your players. Right? We
I
can't have.
understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
but by the same token, in every club, there's two or three players that you're going to say, I could ask the
We're not
Liverpool
at that
boys.
point because we look at our bench and we go,
No,
"There's
we're not.
only,"
We're not.
and we go, "There's not an attacking threat on
No,
there."
but you take every year, every window, you move out the three worst players and you bring in three better players. That's how you evolve, I believe.
Yeah.
Rob Holding's there. He's a good squad player, but we know Rob Holding won't be here in 2 seasons.
Yep.
Shouldn't be here in 2 seasons.
Shouldn't have been here. Some people will say
Cedric
shouldn't be here now.
Cedric was
So
probably the worst player up until Christmas, and we just moved him on.
mm,
BX said, if the Chargers are legit, I'd be furious if I were Liverpool. That's at least a title or two. They were cheated on. Um, Steven said, why the hell would you sell Balogun? He's everything that Eddie is not. He's a different striker, right? I mean, you can switch up strikers. He is our Jesus replacement when he retires, and probably our second best striker.
is he? But okay,
Eddie.
that's not true.
Eddie, I think he was talking about.
Oh. Okay. Because I'm like, we don't like Jesus is a different type of striker than
Mhm.
Balogun is, right? They kind
Yep.
of that they are kind of that yin yang of strikers that we have. We don't. We just have to get the ball to Balogun, right, in the air, and let him hold up, and our wings will come and help him out. Whereas
Yeah.
Jesus will come back, get the ball, and start the attack. Totally different styles. We like both. We want both of them, right?
Yeah.
Right now we have a man who can sit inside the goalie box, right? And I would like him to come up. He does come up
Eddie.
once in a while, but he needs to come up a lot more
Yep.
based on how teams might play us going forward. He's going to have to do more.
We need more.
He's gonna have to touch the ball more than he does now, right? Like in that
Starting Saturday.
in that Everton match, he didn't touch the ball enough, and he didn't seem like he wanted to touch the ball more.
Mhm.
And he
Mhm.
needs to be able to, so that he can open up the game for everybody else. I mean, like you saw, if you're sitting there and you watch Jesus do what he does, you need to emulate some of that, right? Because that's what Arteta wants, and in some
Yeah.
certain scenarios, he needs to be able to do that because that's what
Be
that
physical.
position-
Be a little bit more physical, Eddie. Get back. Put your body on the line a little bit more. I believe Eddie is saving his body for those positions, those chances that come, and his goals. He scored the goals. Maybe Gabriel Jesus is tired when he gets those chances. Let's not forget the misses Gabriel Jesus.
But you know
had.
what? But did we miss the misses that much?
No.
We just thought we could have had a
We've
two goal lead over
it's not it's
over a 1 goal
another
lead.
it's kind of another happy accident we talked about at the top of the podcast. We had Gabriel playing well up until the injury in the World Cup, and then we had a fresh Eddie Nketiah to come in, and he's taken the mantle on. I think he scored 6 goals in 8 games. We do need more now. I know, Stan, you said what we can't do this season is have L's stick together. We can't have 2 L's stick together on this banner at the bottom here.
Before I talk about L sticking together, I'd like.
That is not where I don't know where he was going with that. I don't know what.
I'll get to L sticking together. Right, I'll
We
come up
can't
with
have 2
something,
L's back to back. We
but
don't want 2 L's.
All I have to say, those aren't pillows.
I'd like to talk about Eddie and Florian Balogun. I'd like to see Florian come back at the end of his loan period back to the club and fight it out for second place with Eddie. Let's see what Eddie's made of when he's got someone chomping at his heels, and let's see what Balogun's made of when he's got maybe an opportunity. You know, that there's that scene in The Dark Knight where the Joker walks into that room where he roughs up one of the gangs and he takes over, and he's got 2 of their henchmen on the floor on their hands and knees, and he breaks a pool cue and he goes, "There's an opening, but it's only for one." And he throws the 2 bits of the pool cue down on the floor, basically fight it out. I'm going to see Arteta do that to Balogun and Nketiah in a room. Bring him into the room and tell him there's an opening, but it's only for one, and snap a pool cue and throw the 2 bits down. The strongest man will win. I want to see them fight it out. It will be good for both of them, and it will be good for us because they'll both now have something to be playing for.
They've both developed in different ways this season. Eddie has had the road open up for him. The pathway was clear because of Gabriel Jesus' injury. You've got that comfort of knowing you're going to play full games.
That's
I know
what
we
I
want
don't
to see.
like about that whole situation, right? Because
Florian has been developing in France, Gary, and doing quite well.
Yeah, I don't like that situation because that's I need you, part of it to come from inside of you as well.
Yeah.
Right. It can't always be, well, this is what I got, so now I can deliver. No, some of it's like I'm going to take it, and that's where Stan's situation when Balogun comes back is like, you know what? Yeah, you were here, you played all these games, you may have won the league or whatever, but did you see what I did?
Yeah, top goal scorer.
You see what I did? Look who's below me on the table right now of top scorers in the league. Right? Yeah. Look at the names. Look at the names behind me. All right. This is what I did.
Both of them will have a case.
Be helping his value as well in the crazy world of valuations that we live in.
But and it's going to stay that way for a while because Mbappe
I don't want to see us
playing
cash
for
in
a month.
I don't want to see us cash in. If there's something there, I'd rather utilize it for the benefit of Arsenal than get the cash and then do what? Buy it on somebody else who might not be a fit for Arsenal.
As Gary has said, we're going to have a need in midfield. Be it one player, be it 2, but we're going to pay a king's ransom for a midfield player this coming summer, and we want to pad out our striking position with Balogun. That's probably, I think, is the best thing to do for the club. Bring in maybe Patino in a few years can come into the club as well. When he's right, when he's had that value of a loan again, doing great things at Blackpool. Do we want to talk about Emile Smith-Rowe, Nelson, and Gabriel Jesus before we talk about Brentford? Reece Nelson should be fit to come back into the squad on Saturday. Hopefully, he finds his way onto the bench. We did have Cozier Dewberry, which is the Semble's relative.
What's that?
Cozier Dewberry,
Sounds
right
like
winger.
cake.
And we
What
do
is it with
see
Arsenal? What is it with Arsenal when these youngsters with like these double-barreled names? Have you noticed that? It's like we have got the monopoly when it comes
Neil
to
Smith Rowe,
double-barreled names. It
Cozier Dewberry.
must be bad news for these mothers who've got to buy their kids these football jerseys and have to get all these letters. Is it £1 a letter? It's £1 a letter.
A pound a letter.
Gabriel, start at one end of the sleeve, go all the way around the back, and then down the other end to get it.
Gabriel Jesus running now. I'm looking at Bournemouth in March.
Yeah, there's no. You know what? When he's ready, we bring him back.
Mm-hmm.
When he's ready, we bring him back. My only concern is that we don't rush him because we don't feel like we have an answer for Nketiah when Nketiah needs to sit down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where I keep saying, if Nketiah was here and Jesus was here, would he rotate them? He probably would in certain scenarios, right? Yeah. So why now, when we just have Nketiah, we still not rotating Nketiah around? Because he needs, like, in the last match, he needed to come out, not because, because the game just wasn't for him. You know what I mean? There's going to be scenarios where it's just either it's not his day, they are keeping him away from threatening the goal.
Thank you,
and
Stephen.
And you got to have an answer for it, right? Hey, Stephen.
Have a good night, Stephen. Thank you.
Good night. Yeah. So that's why I always say we need some rotation. If we need to find what that is, right? If that's Martinelli, then just do it. If that's Trossard now, let's do it. But something to give the man a break, because you can't go from like what he's done the last 5 years to all of a sudden now he is our number one striker and he can just go, and we don't see a drop off. That's not going to happen. He can't he's nothing in his past to show me that he'll be able to just go through the rest up and through March or whenever mid-March is, and be fine with it and not mentally drained, physically drained, all of that. Because once he gets lazy, then that's like a red card automatically happening, where if he's rotated in and out the lineup somehow, we're fine. Like if we're playing a team that we should dominate, then maybe he doesn't have to play. You know what I mean? Because then you could bring in a Trossard and let him play up top there. You can, either if Martinelli, give him a try there, if that's one of the answers there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with that at all. I think, this is a young guy that's been, relishing and waiting for his chance to play for the Arsenal. And he said to us that he wanted to start games. He's playing a game a week at the moment, and he's getting a lot of rest in between and training with the first team. He should be relishing it. He should be going to bed every night and waiting for the next game. I don't think he's being...
But we didn't see much of him.
I don't think he's being overworked. We are lacking variety, though. We are lacking variety. Maybe if we did have a Balogun or another striker...
What do you mean you don't agree with me, and then you say you need variety? How do you... If you have variety, does that mean at some point he's going to sit?
Yeah, but we haven't got that. So he should be relishing it. But
no, I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying that we need to be able to rotate our players.
About fitness. I'm talking about the fitness, that he should be able to play the games that he's playing. But yeah, we are lacking variety. We sold 2 strikers and kept one. We sold Lacazette and Aubameyang. Yeah, we only brought in
the options,
and we let one go out on loan. So we're short.
Unfortunately, the injuries we have, Emile Smith Rowe and Gabriel Jesus, they're in the forward positions. Tony wants to say Emile Smith Rowe is a left 8. Well, no, he's probably going to play on the left wing in place of Martinelli. Trossard's there now. So the options are becoming limited, with Eddie having to sustain the drive as striker. Saka is always going to be in that right wing position. So the only variety coming, and trust the process, by the way, the only variety coming is Trossard for Martinelli, which I believe we should start with Trossard on Saturday against Brentford.
Instead of Martinelli?
Instead of Martinelli, yeah.
Why?
Martinelli was very lackluster against Everton, like much as the rest of the team. I think Trossard needs to have some minutes and needs to bed into this team, and he needs to have some good moments with the team.
I mean,
Gary,
it's no different than
disagree?
what we've seen from Ben White. Ben White's been looks like he's been needing a little bit rotation there.
Yeah,
The way he's been playing,
yeah. Ben White
he's
has
not the
been
same
off.
player that we had early in the season and stuff like that. So
So
I don't think it's a negative that team players need to get rotated. At some point they do. They all do.
we got
I get
3
it if
games coming up.
if there's cup games in between or Europa
Doesn't matter.
games, but if you're
It doesn't
playing like
matter
a
the
game,
difference
a game a
though.
week, you should
No,
find
but
a
you're
solution to
thinking of
rhythm.
physical only. There's mental sides to this thing, right?
Well,
just
we're
don't
going to
think-
face both in these 3 games coming up. We got Brentford on Saturday. We got the big one against Man City on Wednesday, and we have to go
Good
to
time to
Aston
be playing
Villa.
them.
Huh?
Just saying, good time to be playing City because not wanting to go back to what we was talking
Good
about
time,
before.
yeah.
But you've got to think that it's a situation that doesn't just stay at the top level. It does permeate down. It must affect the manager. If the manager's looking a little bit worried and a little bit distant, that must permeate
Yep.
down to the team. It's not his usual self.
He's been saying with his hands to his mouth, hands to his chin a lot, thinking.
So it could be a good time
Pep's
for us.
worried.
It could be a good time for us to be playing them. They've got distractions going on and
Let me.
second guessing. Now there's a lot of talk about is Haaland a good fit? Haaland's got an escape route in his contract. He could be if his clause isn't activated in 2024. There's all this stuff going on, hullabaloo going around about them, which means that we can just turn up, get off the coach, get on the pitch, do our business, and leave with 3 points.
Well, let me put one thing to you. I think the Saturday game could be more difficult. I think Brentford could be more difficult than City.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't disagree with that.
Now
they're on an upward trend, aren't they?
Yeah, they're unbeaten in 9 games. Unbeaten in 9 games. They've beaten Liverpool. They've been beaten by Aston Villa. Only ourselves, Aston Villa, and Newcastle and Fulham have beaten them.
What place are Brentford at? What's their number
7.
in the league?
7th place.
Hmm.
They're doing as well as Brighton are doing right now, and possibly they're a better team than Brighton right now. I would say.
They're on form. They are essentially
Yeah,
the
if
best
Tony
team
was here, he'd tell him
they're the best team in the league in
number 1.
In the last 5. So
Number 1 form team. So I put it to all of you that this Brentford game could be more difficult than the City game. We know who City are. I think we know who City are.
yeah, and as crazy it is, as bad as we're playing, right? We are essentially second. So they are the best, but we are right behind them. So
Could just be the first time that we lose 2 on the spin.
I don't want that.
I know.
You know what? We've lost. We lost.
Sorry,
that was me doing Tony impression.
Yeah. Listen,
I mean, could it? Remember those clumps? You got it there. Those clumps of last season, with those clumps of threes.
Yeah.
We've managed to get past it. It's
basically, if you had the cup game in, we do have 2 losses in a row.
Brentford better team than Everton. Form wise.
But you know what? That might play into our hands because they won't be as desperate. There isn't as much going. There is their form right now, but mentally they're not like we're on knife's edge here. We're sitting at the bottom of the league. We want to get out of this relegation zone. This new manager's here. We are much better than this. Brentford is just, they're like us. We were just playing our game as we wanted to. I think once we went to the cup, we switched things up, and that kind of, as they say, changed our flow a little bit, right? Because we're not playing with the same squad and all of that, and then all of a sudden, boom, little wrinkle. Next thing, it takes us a game to get back. Hopefully, that's what that was.
Yeah,
it took us a game to get back into the flow. Because why would we going into the City FA Cup match then all of a sudden look like we did against Everton? All right.
I'd probably go as far as to say if we beat Brentford on the back of that, the last win loss to Everton, to me that would give me a big signal of championship winning.
This is a huge game. You're right.
We go into this one still, licking our wounds from the last game, and we play shit. I'll be like, oh,
Yeah,
Danger.
you
Will
can't
Robinson.
take that loss.
Will
You say you can't
Robinson.
take that loss into the next match.
No,
And
this is a huge game.
I think
We
the
beat
Everton.
Brentford.
Yeah,
Vibes.
yeah,
Seriously, you got to have
yeah.
some vibes because as
Yeah.
Ray pointed out, they're in form. They're not, they're on an upward trend. If we
This
come back off of a loss and we beat these at home, vibes.
if we lose at the weekend, we're in crisis. Arsenal's in crisis. You know the media is
Oh,
going to
Twitter
say
would
that.
explode. Mushroom cloud at
We
Twitter
face
headquarters.
City. Make no mistake, City will win on Sunday against
We
Aston
said
Villa
the
at
same
home.
thing about them winning last weekend. So
No,
I
no, no,
we
no.
most people said yes. You know why we lost? So guess what? City's going to do. Most people,
Win.
you might have been the rare one person that said, "Oh no, no, no! I think this is." There was always that inkling, oh, that team was going to do something, but
Mhm,
the fact that we had dropped points was another incentive, right? Not just
mhm.
we want to change our ways right now and be better than we've been, but you know,
But the good thing about it is at the Emirates, so maybe the
Mhm.
crowd can maybe help them out when things get tough. The good thing about it also is that most of these games, maybe besides the Everton game, we've come up from behind and done pretty well. Um, you know, Brentford's in form, yes. We gotta do. This is one of those games. If they get ahead, then they gotta dig deep, and you know, I think Arsenal will be fine. We just gotta. Arteta has just had to learn how to make adjustments and make substitutions at the right time.
Yeah. I think this is a huge game, but I also think it's probably the best game that we could have had following an abject, probably our worst performance of the Premier League last weekend against Everton. We got an ass kicking. We got it handed to us. We weren't good enough. We weren't efficient enough. And we have a wake up call now against the best team,
yeah,
informed team in the league at
yeah,
home. And we can step up, Gary. We can step up to the plate here.
yeah. No, I mean, I was just looking at kind of, our last set of matches, and we had a lot. We had a tough set of matches before that
Mhm.
Everton one, right?
Yeah,
I
let's
mean,
not
we
forget we
faced the
beat
three,
Tottenham, we beat United. You
and
know,
then we drew to Newcastle, which is a tough game.
yeah,
It's going to be a tough game for most people. I mean, uh, Brentford not so much as far as who they've played. I mean, they haven't played
yeah.
anyone.
No, they've beaten
Like the
Southampton.
biggest name they've played is Liverpool, and they
Yeah,
beat them, and that's not
yeah,
saying much right now.
yeah,
So they've had it a little bit easy. We've had it tough in the sense that every game's there's been because we're
yeah,
top one because we're top of the league, but also the teams that we've been playing are sitting at the top of the table as well.
yeah,
And in Everton's case, they are um, relegation fodder, as they say, but
yeah.
also they had, as they said, some people said that new manager bounce kind of thing going in their favor.
They got a
So
new impetus and they got a new direction. They got a manager who maybe knew how to use his players
mhm,
in that way, and they've got some good quality players. Gary, I think you've hit on something here. Bournemouth or Brentford are 9 games unbeaten, yes, but they have played recently a lot of teams in the lower half of the league. You
yep,
know,
yep,
Southampton, unfortunately, Leeds, but Leeds did get a draw with them, which is a good result for Leeds to draw 0-0 with Brentford.
yep.
They beat Bournemouth. They did beat a very bad Liverpool team. We don't know what Liverpool is right now. I can't even get a
Now
handle on
think about it. Their last four matches have been against four of the bottom five teams.
that. Hmm.
So yes, they won the games they're supposed to win because those are teams at the bottom of the table. But that's all they've played. They haven't
Yep.
had the challenges that we've
No.
had in our three games leading up to the Everton match. So I kind
Yep.
of feel like, and that weighs on you. We all know that weighs on you. Sometimes we talk about getting getting through those three games, but it's also the aftermath of those three games,
Yep.
right? I mean that Manchester United match was pretty big for us, right? Winning it at the end like that.
So we had a little bit of a down, a little bit of a lull after that
Mhm.
euphoria of that late winner against Man United. The players probably steeling themselves, thinking You know,
Didn't
we've got an
I
8-point lead.
called it with Liverpool. Do you remember we were talking? I said, now that they're up for sale, and they bought just after they bought Darwin Núñez, I said, I don't think they're going to be investing any more money into this until they sell it. And a few of you was going, no, they'll still invest. They still want to make it attractive. Doesn't appear to be so, because their midfield is really creaking.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
really seem to be wanting to
This
really.
this is
Their
a
their midfield's been like that for years, though.
this is a
Not just
warning
this
sign for
season.
us.
This is like 3 or 4 years in the making.
Mhm.
Because I've listened to some of the Liverpool chat, shows, and they've been
Oh,
complaining
you
about their
have you?
midfield for listen to
Yeah, just like
everybody.
me.
Listen to
Um,
everybody. I give
You
everybody.
they
I
bloody
got
give everybody a
Liverpool
chance.
people are there.
they got Thiago in, but they haven't really done anything with that midfield in 2 or 3 windows. And those
Meanwhile,
midfielders
Mane's
have been
ripping it up in
aging.
Germany.
Mane's tearing it up in Germany. This is something. If we're going to be at the top of the pile, win the Premier League this season, we all hope we do. We have to look at dominating the Premier League with City being out of the show. City being out of the
The
picture.
cat's looking at his
Camping.
her
Literally
laptop.
camping.
We have to take care of gaps in our squad. Not like if we have to go get midfielders. We know we have to do that this summer. Go get midfielders. Partey and Granit Xhaka are aging. Will Arteta move Xhaka to the bench in certain games? Will that happen next season? May not happen this season. Will Trossard play left 8 at some points this season? These are all questions that Arteta has to answer, and Arteta has to not be like Klopp and be in love, too much love with his
Wants to come from
squad.
Teabag, secret
You know
weapon.
what I mean?
He's
Yeah,
still
bring on
settling in.
Teabag.
Still settling in. We've seen that he can, thread a good pass. He's got an eye for a goal and will take a shot from outside the box. He's gonna give him time. He's going to be. I think it's going to be very useful for us in the near future.
No, I in those type of scenarios, I always say that Arteta needs to give those guys the same confidence that he gives to his other players like Xhaka and stuff like that. Because once, as you say, Fabio Vieira has a skill set that Xhaka doesn't, right? Fabio Vieira, yeah, you know who he is. I don't know what that's his name. That's his mama call him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay. All right. No, but he's got. I don't know what. No, put that down. Put that down. That's not his name. No, but he definitely he needs to play more. Right, he needs to play more, and even if it's for small late in games or whatever it is, he just needs to play because he every time I've seen him play, he'll come in, he'll do something. You're like, he needs to be able to do that more. And the way he can do that more.
Look at Odegaard in that loan period compared to now. We saw flashes, and I liked him, but he's moved up, and you're going to see the same with Teabag.
The problem is right now is we need sure things. We need players who can get us points.
But you can't do that because, as I've said,
I don't want to lose the league by a couple of points.
You need to rotate these players because you're not going to. Because then at the end of the season, you're going to be saying, "Why did this happen again?" Well, guess what? It's because right now, when we should be getting a little bit of a rotation with our players, we never do. And at the end of the season, we can't afford to anymore.
Isn't it best to do this when we're a goal up or 2 goals up in the second half? Bring those.
But you got your wish right.
Be able to come in no matter what.
You got your wish right. You said you want sure things, right? I think Trossard is a sure thing. There's no settling required. You know what I mean? He's coming from Brighton to London.
The problem now, I think, is integration into the team stand. We need
Jorginho as well, right?
Trossard is the reason why we got the damn goal against United. I think he's fine. There's no betting in for him anymore. He's fine.
Cameo.
He just needs more time. You saw him coming against Everton. He looked fine playing, right? Trossard doesn't. I don't know about it. And there's no vetting for him.
Would you start him on Saturday, Gary? You wouldn't mind starting him, or would you go Martinelli?
I wouldn't mind if he starts. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
So wherever they want to put him on the pitch and let him get some minutes. I mean, as I said,
why can't Martinelli play his way back into form?
We don't need to when you've got a player that can come in and give him that break. That's
why you have.
He just
had a week's break.
But that's
He
why
said
you
a
have a
week.
strong bench, so you can do. We just talked about having players that can come off the bench. He can come off the bench and start for you. Why
Do you know,
not do
this
that?
listen, when I used to be in the infants, right, in London, infant school, right, they used to make us at about fucking 1 o'clock in the afternoon all go to sleep and have naps in his camp beds. I used to fucking lie there wide awake, just looking at everyone else sleeping. It was weird in the infants, but you know, he's had a week off. He loves playing football. Can't he? You know, can't he come back in this game and you know and
Yeah,
make
I
up
think
for it and have a good game?
I
If he
think coming
doesn't,
back to
if
the
he doesn't,
Emirates,
but if he doesn't, right, we've got the insurance now that if he's looking a little bit jaded or he's still not out of form,
It's
we
been
now
looking
have the
like that for
insurance
the
that we
last
can
couple
take
of
him
weeks.
off
It's just a
and we can put
one-time thing.
Trossard on.
But it's not a one-time thing, Stan. It's not like he just did it in the last match. It's in the last 3 or 4 matches we've been
be right
talking
back.
about. There's something about it that's just not right there. It would be nice to be able to bring somebody on for him. We finally
We've
have
got
that
someone we can bring
person.
on.
No,
That's
so
what I'm
then
saying.
why can't he come on and just start for him and give him that break?
But
Now you're
but
saying he
this
can
is
work his
this
way
is what I
back
don't
into
understand.
it.
He
You're saying
keeps
work
saying he needs a
back into
break.
it. Well, we have a player that can play and he can start for us.
He keeps saying he needs a break. He hasn't done any work since for a week.
I didn't
People
say
work every day. But I
you
don't
always think
understand a
you
break.
keep talking
What
about
break?
you can rotate your players for whatever reason you feel like they need to rotate, right?
I'd prefer to start a better player. And if you're
Who's
right,
and
you
you're
know,
saying
you're
Trossard
into
isn't
the
a better
game.
player?
You know, if
Who's
you're
a
into the
leading
game and
scorer
it
for
looks
his
like he's not.
team? You
But I'm
don't
just
think he's
saying.
that good?
But I'm just saying, if you know, you put him into the game, you give him an opportunity. If he's been looking, you know, obviously you've got to be looking at him in training. If he's looking sharp, you put him in the game. And if it turns out he's having another mare or not up to par, up to snuff, as you seem to think, we can take him out, and we've got an insurance now that we can put a player in that we're confident in. You know, but what happens if you start Trossard and he's a bit mid? Now what are you going to do? Get Martinelli off the bench? But you just said that you don't think Martinelli should be starting. So it's like, do you know what I'm getting at? It's like, well,
What's the
I'm not good
difference
enough to
if he
start
starts or if he
because
comes off the
apparently I'm
bench?
tired. Oh, now you want me to come on because the other guy ain't up to
Well,
scratch.
you know what? That's when you have a bad communication with your squad that you feel like you can't. And this is the problem we keep saying. Why can't Xhaka come off the pitch sometimes, right?
Yeah, that is a
Because there's no
problem.
communication that says, look, I'm confident in you, but I need to make some changes. I'm the manager. I
Here's
know what I'm watching. Just like you said, if I see something in practice I
could
don't
get
like,
that if we were
I
like
can.
if we played a game midweek, you know, for Europe or something like that. I could get that,
It
but
doesn't matter
I keep
about the
giving
time
time to take
difference.
a
Some
break.
players,
I don't
that doesn't
understand.
matter.
If
It's
it
not.
work,
That's not
he's
the
not done
only
any work
variable.
for a week.
That's not the only variable. Just because there's 5 days, 6 days, 7
Martinelli.
days between matches.
Martinelli
the
and
only variable.
Trossard have very, very similar stats. So what you're looking at is the eye test. What you want subjectively yourself. Do you want Martinelli, who's got pace? If we stretch
I
Brentford,
mean, I'm playing
maybe
devil's
we get
advocate a
pace
little
down
bit.
that left-hand side, or do you want a player who Trossard might help out a little bit in midfield, might help Xhaka if we're getting overrun in midfield? Because Brentford are a very hard-working team in midfield, you know?
I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit, but I don't want to.
Little
I
bit.
just don't want to see us get into the shiny new toy syndrome like we did with Tavares. Tavares came in because Tierney was out, and then when Tierney got fit, it was like Tavares has to stay. It's like I call it shiny new toy
I'm the only one that
syndrome.
said that
And
it
I
was.
would
I was
rather.
the only one that said it was Tierney's job, and everybody else. I don't know if you said it. Everybody else that I was on the show with was like, "No, Tavares stays because
I
he's
said
playing
it.
well right now." And I
I
said,
never
"No, no,
said
no."
Tavares.
And
That's why I'm
I
bringing
said,
it up.
he's not our best player in that position. He isn't.
But I call it shiny
Right?
new toy syndrome, and because we see Trossard come off the bench, and
Yeah.
obviously he's got the bit between his teeth, right? He's chomping. You know, one day he was going to bed at Brighton, maybe thinking of trying to get into the Europa League. Next day he wakes up, he's now top of the league, and I
You've
get
seen his
that.
CV, right? Have you seen
I
his
get that,
CV?
but
Look
we
at
can
his
harness
CV.
that.
Look at his
We
CV.
can harness
He
that.
scores against the big teams, right? So it's not like he doesn't
So
show
we
up.
don't need him on this one because Brentford's not a big team.
If he can score against the big teams, he can score against Brentford, especially when
Stan is
we
asking the
haven't scored in the
hard-hitting
last 2
questions.
matches, right? It'd be nice
And
to
I'm
get a
playing
goal.
devil's advocate a
right?
bit because I believe that
Yeah.
with those two, we're very lucky that there's not a huge drop off. It's not like we're arguing Partey over El Neni.
Why are you up? Why? So you shouldn't be upset if we put Trossard in.
No, but you know, this is for entertainment value. We've got people tuning in. You're boring. Even if you're
You want
boring,
entertainment value, but I want to win the conversation. That's all.
All right, next subject.
I,
I'm playing devil's advocate.
I hear you.
I think
You know,
I think you get something from each player. You get
Yep.
stats that are similar, but it just depends on what you see on the day, and you
Yep.
don't know until you play the player.
the good thing,
Trossard or
one
Martinelli.
argument now I would say is with Trossard on the bench, starting Trossard on the bench, you now put yourself in a situation where if Martinelli's having a poor game, you can bring him on. If Saka's having a poor game, he can go on there. If Eddie is, having a problem or gets even injured, he can go on there. So in a situation where we don't have Jesus, Trossard's a good Swiss Army knife that
Yeah.
you can edge your bets with him and think, okay, if one of my first picks is not at the office today, I know that I can put him in and I can still get an end product from him. He's not just making up the numbers
And
and just
some-
being another body.
Some
question
people
for
have
you,
even
'cause
said
The issue I have
this
is that they don't know how to
Yeah.
score when they come on. They don't score. Like the substitutes haven't scored in how long. So that's the issue. This team
probably
has.
miss Smith Rowe. Yeah.
So
Smith Rowe again,
Honest-
always effective off the bench. We now have two players that can
Yeah.
come off the bench, and it's not just they're only coming on to make up a body because that guy's tired.
The
They
other-
come on and can actually make a difference to a game.
The other thing with Trossard, he can even play, and you bring a player in, you can move Trossard to a different position within the game as well. You
Yeah.
know, so
So if he started with Nketiah and Nketiah goes down, you just move him over, and
Yeah.
you bring in Martinelli because he was sitting.
yeah,
So it's
Yep. I think what we're looking at on Saturday, Alonso, I'll bring
Good
you
argument,
in.
though, right? Good place to be in.
Huh? It's a good place to be in.
You know,
Yeah.
you've got this player that can
If
fit into all
you,
his
you
positions.
play a shiny toy, or you play your shiny car.
the
that you
trick
already
is
have
Arteta
had.
has to know this and actually be comfortable doing it. He hasn't shown it as much. I don't think he's shown it
Yeah,
at all.
he switched them.
He hasn't shown it enough for me to say yes, I'll do it again.
Well, it's been.
This is why he gets paid 5 million or whatever it is. For him now,
been
this
3
week,
games.
between the last game, it's up to him now
Yeah.
to look at what he's got available to him and think what he thinks this is the player that's going to do it
Yeah.
for me on that day.
We're listen. This title of the podcast is up for grabs now. You know, you have to start believing at this point that we can go on and win the league. You know, City are not that team that they used to be. I don't think City are what they were last season against Liverpool, where they hunted Liverpool down. They put a run of games together. They kept saying, but Arsenal have to go XYZ grounds. Well, City have to do the same, and they haven't been able to do it up till now. You know, they've lost against United recently. In this calendar year, they've lost to United and they lost to Tottenham. 2 teams that we've beaten as well. I've got to say,
maybe we should let them off then. Maybe they're not guilty. They can't
maybe
beat
they're not.
United.
I
Falls
gotta
apart,
say,
yeah. You can't beat United. Case falls apart. All right, we're on.
I've got to say, I've got to be confident that we can win the league now. Listen, if we lose it by a point or two, you know, Liverpool did this. They lost it by a point or two, and they came back the next season and were better. I'm not making excuses. I want Arsenal to go and win the league now. We can't be in this unique position and not finish it off with 18 games left to go in the season.
Can I ask you a question? If we beat Brentford and we beat them in a convincing, coming off the back of a loss, you know, especially coming off the back of a loss for a team where they really, you know, they were low down. We should be beating them, and we didn't. You know, we lost. We didn't draw. We lost. We didn't score a goal. If we come back and beat Brentford, who are on a, you know, they're on a bit of an upturn, like you said, they've not lost a game in 9 matches.
Mhm.
Do you think that's title-winning credential, guys? Do you think that's like, you know, what do you reckon?
Yeah. If you beat a team that is unbeaten for 9 games, this 9-game run goes back to when they did beat Man City at the Etihad. Let's not forget they beat Man City before the World Cup break. It's a cautionary tale there because they're coming to Arsenal and they're capable. They're capable of scoring a goal. I believe we're going to need to score at least 2, if not 3 goals, because I think Brentford are capable of getting at least 1 goal in this game. But yeah, this would be a performance like Brighton away from home, like Brentford away from home. And, we played games at home where we've beaten Liverpool, we've beaten Tottenham on our own ground as well, we've beaten Man United at our own ground. This is going to be our cash cow for the rest of the season. 10 games at home. If we take the majority of 30 points, we can already see that's 80 points this season. And then we would need some nice away wins in the last 8 games of the away games. I want to hit 90 plus points because I don't want to say Arsenal won the league in a year where City faltered, where Liverpool faltered, where Chelsea faltered.
Can I have a question to you guys? Would it bother you if, let's say, that whatever happens with City, and as we've said quite sternly on this show, these are only allegations and we know nothing and aren't accusing anybody, but let's say they're found to be guilty and action is taken really quickly and there's a point deduction this season or whatever, which benefits us, is it going to bother you? Like people say, oh, there'll be an asterisk next to it.
No. It won't bother me. Tell you why, because we have won 16 games out of 20, drawn just 2 and lost just 2. Our record will reflect. I don't want us to tail away where we lose 6 or 7 games and still win the league. I want to get up into the mid 90s or low 90s and say we won the league with a records points tally that are in Arsenal's history. Winning more games than 26, which is our record. We're 10 games away from 26. That's how I feel about it anyway. Gary, how do you feel?
As I said, I don't care. If they lose points, then they lose points. I always care about performances anyways. So as long as our performance levels stay where they are, we'll be fine. And we will get those points that we need regardless. But I always talk about performance over results anyways. So give me that. I'll take that any day because I know more than likely we're going to get the points that we need. So the performance levels haven't been up to snuff at the last 2 matches. This is the time to do it. Let's get it back going. Give me a performance like we've seen before. I mean, this is what we've done. We've done this 19 times, right? Our performances in most of our games have been pretty good. Maybe take out the Southampton match and the Everton match, but otherwise we've been pretty solid in what we've wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I want to see that get us back to that. And for me, it's all right. Maybe all 10 players on the pitch don't give it to you, but I need more than what we saw in the last one. You know what I mean? The last one you could probably say
horrible.
1 or 2 players actually looked like they were playing what we would call the Arsenal way this season. All right. So
I'm asking another question, though, right, Gary?
I
Would you
didn't
rather
answer,
win the
man.
league, right?
Well, Alonso in.
I'll ask Alonso then. Sorry, Gary.
All
I'll
right,
ask Alonso
so
this question, but it's a question though. That is, would you rather win the league this season, and Man City have points ducked and they're punished, or would you have rather have won the league back when there was COVID and there was no crowd in the stadium, and we'd won the season under those circumstances? Fair, you know what I mean, without the Man City controversy.
either
Did you hear
way,
what Martin Odegaard said?
Okay,
Remember
so
when Martin
the
Odegaard was on
asterisk,
loan,
the asterisk involved is either an asterisk of Man City's corruption, points deduction, or a COVID season. Alonso.
I rather win it with Man City, get an asterisk because they've been like a bully, man. Like they've been like winning all the time, and though the points deduction really doesn't really hurts their cause, not our cause. It would be nice to see them go down either way, and hopefully for a long time. So yeah, I mean,
man. Oh, what I'm gone, man.
He's just send them right down. Send them right down to Division 2.
and make your points about having me in COVID. Like no one was
Alonso's
there.
like this.
So no
in the
one was there.
Coliseum.
No one was. No one was there to witness really COVID year, right? So I think to have Man City like put them down and take them out would be fun to see, because they have been just our enemy. They've been like teams from the lower league, lower table teams got hurt by this as well, like Garrett had mentioned. So, all in all, I'd rather see them go down. and us in the league because, like, we're like underdogs, right? We do things our own way. But
I want us to
Chelsea
win.
and City
9
use their
years.
money and funds.
I want us to win the league. I want us to win the league, irrespective of any punishment Man City are going to be handed down. I don't want an asterisk. I don't even care if people want to say there's an asterisk. There still wouldn't be an asterisk because we'll get 90 points, Gary.
You know what? They don't. It
28
doesn't. They can put all the
wins.
asterisks they want on it. Think about it. We'll be smiling. We'll be just smiling. Guess what? We'll be smiling. It doesn't really matter. Do what you want. They don't want. They just don't want us to win it. Who cares if there's an asterisk? That's not going to mean anything to us and they know that.
We won the election, but there was.
We don't care.
There was echoes of.
I can't hear that.
Collusion.
I can't
Corruption.
hear you, but I can see that trophy.
Collusion.
I can't hear what you said, but I see that trophy. Oh, I see that medal. Yep. We get to put another plaque on the wall or whatever it is.
Marga, make Arsenal great again.
No. Think about it. We're not going to care. They don't.
No.
Think about what happened. The world. No. We win it.
Care.
It doesn't matter what's going on around it. Right? I'd rather win it with fans in the stands, too, though. Mm-hmm. Right? Think about you going up and going through the stands to get your medal.
That's sensible.
Listen, BX Gunner, your goal for the season still stands the top 4 and the Europa League title. Anything else is a welcome bonus.
Exactly.
Don't you want to be?
Anything else happens, he's going to be overjoyed, and that's what he's setting himself up for.
You have to accept. You have to accept on your shoulders. Put it on your shoulders. We're in a title race. What's more, we're 5 points clear with a game in hand in a title race. It looks like City can't come near us. We're stiff arming everybody. We're stiff arming City. We're stiff arming United, who had a 3-day title race the last 3 days. Mm-hmm. Couldn't even beat Leeds. Listen, you're gonna get results like this at home. We couldn't beat Newcastle.
Yeah.
Listen,
we've got 1 and 2 games.
Goals, and there's me that tell me I don't have kids, but I say don't set any goals. You'll never be disappointed when you fail.
Yeah.
No, I was just saying we've got 1 and 2 games in hand against the 2 teams behind us. So we don't care. I don't care about the asterisk. Bring it. Bring all the asterisks. As long as at the end of the day it says it keeps us at the top.
We just
sit on top of all the asterisks.
With a huge sword fighting asterisks.
Do you know now the mentality will be less looking? The mentality may be less looking at Manchester City and more looking at our own mentality of it's going to be another 3 points.
Yep.
We're just going to go and get another 3 points. We can't care. We can't worry about City.
Yep.
They're far enough behind us now that we shouldn't worry about them. We just should do our own thing on Saturday and pay attention to Brentford because they're a decent team. Thomas Frank is a good coach and he's got them playing well. Respect the opponent.
Think about it. We've struggled against Southampton and Everton have been our worst games. They are in the relegation zone, both of them. Those are our really, really poor matches that we've had, right? Mm-hmm. Manchester United, we thought we outplayed them. We just didn't get the win. But Southampton and Everton, probably our worst matches, and that might be, that might be the issue. It's not necessarily playing the teams that have something to lose. Is the teams that have nothing else. They have nothing else, right? Like the teams have something to lose at the top of the table, a little bit more pressure on them. The teams at the bottom, there's no pressure on us, so we'll just go out there and do our thing. That's why the games look the way they do, right? When we played, Leeds could have beat us easily. Everybody said, right? 2-1, 2-0 easily.
Yeah.
So we've struggled against teams that we've outmatched.
We were lucky,
and that's where our mentality has to be right in those matches. And I think somehow our team keeps doing that. Is that coming from Arteta? Is he downplaying them a little bit in the way that he prepares for those matches? You can't anymore because for me, it's just you got if you can get all your wins early and at the end of the season everybody's can't catch you, you're laughing.
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's the way we're doing it. We're leading from the front,
Yeah.
and
If you have a 10-point lead with 3 games to go, you're
that's it.
laughing,
It's done. Yeah,
right? You're laughing.
yeah, yeah.
So
The only way you can beat this City team in the last few seasons has been get out in front, stay ahead of them, exert the pressure on them, and we will have an opportunity to put the ball back in their court on Saturday when we hopefully don't underestimate Brentford and beat them. Stan?
We'll give that one to Alonso because you asked me the last one, but Gary answered, so I wrote my answer in the chat box.
The more Man City, you're confusing me now, Stan. Confusing me. The more Man City are tarnished, the less chance there is of losing. Exactly. Not even Arteta, but Saka, Bukayo Saka, Martinelli to Klopp. Well, that's not happening anymore. You know what I mean? You build something of your own that's good enough, and players can see a path to trophies. They're going to stay there.
And obviously, I was being a little bit cheeky there, but yeah, I mean, I wanted to write it out there. It's a point that I think that we shouldn't overlook. There's a lot of talk about Arteta being the heir apparent to Pep Guardiola. You know, it could be now that will be a polished turd in a way, because if it's sorted out quickly and there's bad sanctions, who wants to go there? And if it's something that's dragging on, do you really want to be a part of that?
Yeah.
And that means that may help us keep him, longer. And I'm all for that at the moment.
And it's going to be up to the Cronkies to back the manager. The manager. Let's start building a dynasty. We want to win the league, but I want to have a Champions League before I leave this world as well. You know what I mean?
Bloody hell, right? That's a long way off, surely.
Yes, a long way off. Absolutely. Absolutely. I hope we see a Champions League in that time. You know what I mean?
If you've got any problems, right? Just DM me, hun.
We'll do.
That's what they say, don't they? On social media. DM me, hun. Anyone calls me hun, I like that. If you call me hun in a message, I know that you don't really give a shit about me. So
listen, my friend.
Anyway.
Have you got a question for Alonso, Stan?
I was just going to ask him, obviously, about what he feels about the chances of, obviously, notwithstanding the allegations against Man City. But if, Arteta, what his next move would be now, surely it must mean that he's going to stay with us, right?
Yeah. Alonso, it's over to you. That's to you, Alonso. Are you frozen?
It's fucking frozen, isn't it? I thought it was just like, pausing. That's a good freeze. That looks real.
It's like he's thinking. He's thinking about it. It's like he's thinking about it. All right, let's bring Alonso back in. There you go. Get some Pepto. You are alive, Alonso. You are alive.
Yeah.
Stan is pretending frozen.
What are you asking?
I'm going to ask you a question. Brentford. You were frozen. Brentford. Brentford will come to this game without any pressure, Alonso. I believe they're going to come to the Emirates and play their game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I hope not, because Arsenal need to win. And if we learned a lesson or did learn a lesson from last Saturday against Everton, they should know that they can't really afford to get bullied again. I did it against Everton and a new manager bounce. I think I keep rolling that. With that said, I think we should be more offensive sometimes, not be defensive in a way, not be conservative.
Your camera was moving towards the Pepto-Bismol.
And this is a drink, by the way. Not
oh, okay. Hey, it was pink. What do you want me to say? You weren't feeling good earlier.
Well, it's like I had a stomachache. I have a flu being anyway. So I think it's important that we get off the right foot. I think that we had a talent to match theirs. Obviously, I think Ivan Tony and some other players like the Silva, and they have good defense as well. So we have to do our best to try to attack them and attack them early.
Kieran Gibbs to score.
No, not today. Um, that's he's probably tired right now. Anyway, so yeah, I think we have the squad to beat them. But I think our biggest weakness is that our subs don't score or score enough.
Yeah.
So I hope that changes today, Saturday, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Gary, I see Brentford coming in, being a relaxed team, playing their game. Ivan Toney, probably pun intended here. Ivan Toney will back himself to score, allegedly, and but I think Arsenal will have to take the mantle here and go on the front foot and get 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, we've humbled them the last 2 times since he put that tweet up, right? So
Yeah.
So we need to continue that. That's
Last
when
year,
nice kick about with the boys, right?
nice kick about in the park. Last year game at the Emirates was a little tricky. It was a 2-1 game. We beat them 2-1. They did have a chance near the end as well. So I'm expecting a difficult game from them, but we should be able to come through. And I think we have to go with a strong side to start with.
Yep.
That probably means Partey for about 60
I mean, I don't think Arteta does the Premier League dirty like he does the FA Cup and
no.
I
think we're in a unique position, Gary, where we found ourselves in a very strong position in the league, and decisions had to be made in terms of priorities.
Yep. So based on what he's showing us, he's going for the league, and if we're able to double up and get deep in the Europa League, then that's just a bonus. But I mean, I don't know how you can't try to get the league based on the position that you're in. We've had multiple opportunities, I think, to get 8-point leads, and we need to get this win, and then if we can get another win, we'll be 8 points up again. That'd be nice, right? So.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's incentive. There is pressure with it. We need to be able to answer the call and knock down those walls that we're not able to get by. So yeah.
Yep. Okay. I think this could be a lot of goals in this game. I'm going to go for a 3-2 win for Arsenal. Gary.
Yeah, I have 3-1. So.
Okay.
So I'm thinking 3-1 for us. Yeah.
Okay. Alonso, what's your score prediction?
I'd say 3-1.
3-1. Okay. And Stan, your score prediction? And
I think it could be a draw.
2-2.
I'm not sure of the score, but a draw.
Okay. I will say, I think 7 points from these 9 games would be a good haul. I'd like to get 6 out of the gate and get a draw at Aston Villa. But yeah. So draw and beat City and beat Villa would be 7 points for me. Even Martin Truex Jr. won a NASCAR race on Sunday. There is hope for Arsenal and the Eagles. Any other points on this Brentford game before we get into the rest of the games this weekend? Any other points you all wanted to make? Thunder Road, welcome. Thanks for joining us. We're about to discuss it. We're about to discuss the 2 Who Gives a Fuck's game of the week. Tony, we hope you're doing well. Turn left. Can anyone turn left? I don't know. All right. No other points about Brentford. Arsenal, Brentford will move on into the Premier League. Gary, West Ham at home to Chelsea. I think it's a London derby, right? An East London derby?
Yeah.
Stan, you're about to make your exit.
Yeah, I've got to go. My dinner is just being served up. So good chatting to everybody. Enjoy the rest of the show and look forward to speaking to you next week.
See you, Stan.
Cheers.
Trust the process. Trust
Good
the
night, everyone.
process.
Enjoy the rest of
Yeah.
the show.
All right, we're gonna roll it up here with real quickly going through West Ham, Chelsea, and any talking points. Will we see the real Mudrick, Gary?
Well, it's not even in Mudrick. It's going to be Felix as well and Enzo. So they're going to have
Is
all
Felix
three there.
back?
I believe so. Yeah. So
Oh,
I
wow.
think they're going to have all three of their top signings, the last top signings they've had, plus all the other. I mean, it should be an easy Chelsea win no matter what, based on the talent that they have on the pitch. So, but I'm going to go with a draw because I don't want to give them the win, but I can see them winning it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Anything but a win. Listen, it's West Ham. It's not going to be easy at their place. Anything but a win, though, for Chelsea will increase. I don't know if Potter's feeling pressure at all. I
He
haven't seen
shouldn't.
any.
He shouldn't because they've been
They've
they've
got
been messing.
past.
They've been they've been messing with like not. As somebody said, they've got like over 30 players to manage. That's just too much.
He's doing the combinations.
So he's got to and he's going to have to punish some players, right? With the Champions League, he's already had to do that. Right?
Punish them, yeah. You've been
Well,
banished to
no,
Wednesday
think about it. You've
nights.
been playing in the Champions League, and all of a sudden, nope, you can't. You're not playing anymore. You know, so it's managing. You got to manage. You got to manage your players. So I think that's a lot more than he expected to have to do. Like, go get my players for me, but also, can we get rid of some of my players as well? You know. So yeah. So that's how I have it.
Chelsea have to start firing on some cylinders, says Tony. Even if it's a 4-cylinder. My car is now a 4-cylinder. It used to be a 6-cylinder. That's not good. Alonso, West Ham and hold to Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, I was going for West Ham to win. I think Jared Bowen's been playing really good lately. Michael Antonio's always a threat. It's just, in a way, West Ham has bought some players in this or in the summertime that you would have thought they would have competed for Europa League placing. But it hasn't happened yet. So, West Ham at home is always a hard place to play. Declan Rice, I feel bad for him because he wants to leave. I'm hoping that he comes to Arsenal. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I hope that West Ham, I'm going for them. I think it'll be a 3-1, 3-2 win.
Yep. West Ham got a good point up at Newcastle last weekend. They'll be looking to, I think many teams here, we're going to go through them. They'll be looking to gain some momentum. And West Ham will be looking to gain some momentum against a Chelsea team that are struggling to find the right formation with a lot of expensive acquisitions. Okay, next one, Alonso. Fulham are at home to Nottingham Forest. 8th place versus 13th.
I'm going for Fulham on this one. They they looked good against Chelsea last Friday. So yeah, I mean they got a good team. I'm hoping that Fulham deserve to stay up, I guess, and then they're pretty sure
Absolutely, yeah.
they'll stay up. So
8th place.
they really haven't had a good run. They haven't had a good run to stay in the league for a while. So they're pretty good this year. I think they're still fighting for European spots as well. So, I'm going for Fulham. I think they're a good story this year.
Yeah, I wonder how many goals Mitrovic is on right now. Fulham is a good shout for staying up. Nottingham Forest seem to be very much a home team, Gary. They get good results playing at home, but maybe away from home, not so good. So for that reason, I would echo Alonso's choice in Fulham beating Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, I can see that for that reason. Yep.
Okay, so next one. I'm actually going to pick this one as my upset pick. It's Leicester City at home to Tottenham. Leicester City were the only team to win away from home last weekend, and we want Tottenham to have some bad days after they've they've pretty much donated 3 points to Arsenal last weekend. Thank you very much, Tottenham. We got 9 points for Tottenham this season. But yeah, Leicester City at home to Tottenham. I think that Leicester City are gonna. I'm gonna say it. Leicester are gonna be the team we thought they'd be. Gary, they're gonna start playing. They're gonna start getting some results.
Well, they just punished Villa, right? So
Yeah.
And Villa's playing City, so they might, yeah. So yeah, no, I can do it chaos. I like chaos, so yeah, I can see that. I would like that. I'd
Wow.
like you to win that bet.
Can I just say Mitrovic, 11 goals in 18 games. He's had quite a time back in the Premier League and proven himself. Yeah, so you're going to go for Leicester on that one, Gary?
I'm going to go for the team that's not the other team.
That's not that team. The team that's not that team. Alonso?
Yeah, I think Leicester can beat our team, as Gary says it. Leicester has kind of talent on the team, so I hope they stay up. As much as they can't stand Jamie Vardy, they're one team that you don't want seeing going down. Because their story is a good story, and I want that to continue. So anytime you beat the scum of the earth, it's a good thing. So I'm going for it.
Tony saying, good stuff, Alonso. Tony saying, getting a 6-inch Q-tip for a COVID test still sucks ass.
I know I won today too. So
well, you're only getting 6 inches stuck up your nose, Tony. So it's better. It's better than the other thing. They could be taking your temperature with a 6-inch. Hey, where is the leaderboard? Ray gets lax when I'm away. Okay. Yeah, the pressure's off. I relax a little bit. Let's put up the leaderboard. Because, Tony, we're coming for you, Tony. You're not going to be top for long. You know what I mean? So there's where it stands as of last weekend. There you go.
Hey, I got some points. All right.
You got. All right, Alonso. We talked about Arsenal and Brentford. Let's go to Crystal Palace at home to Brighton. Alonso.
Yeah, I think Brighton are pretty managed pretty well. I think when Graham Carter left, I think a lot of people thought that they'd not do that great, but the coach now, I don't know his name. Do you know his name, guys? Brighton's coach.
De Zerbi. Yeah.
He's done a good job.
Yes.
He's used a lot as a player.
He's managing transfer windows extremely well, which is annoying.
Yeah. So he's gotten the best out of his players, the players that he has. And I don't know, I kind of have a soft spot for Danny Welbeck. Just seeing him do well, I guess being a leader, for that team. Kind of good to see his team do well. So I would root for Danny Welbeck. So yeah, I'm giving Brighton the win.
I would not be. You're going to go for Brighton to win. I thought they struggled last weekend. Matoma coming up with a header to break down a tough opponent. Can't remember who they played last weekend. I feel like Brighton's slowing up a little bit. I think
they beat Bournemouth at home. So
they beat Wolves, was it? Or Bournemouth?
Bournemouth.
1-0 right at the end. And I feel like they're slowing down a little bit. I'm going to go for a Crystal Palace win there at Selhurst Park, Gary.
It's hard to see them slowing down. I mean, like you're saying,
they struggled to win 1-0 against.
You just said you think Leicester City is going to sneak a win out, and the one game their toughest match that they had was against Leicester. So either you're just picking numbers out of a hat, or you've been doing a little bit of research and you've seen Leicester actually is playing a little tougher. So then, I could see Brighton winning this one. I don't. Yeah.
That's
so
fair.
That's
you're entitled to your opinion.
Yeah.
You think Brighton will win at Selhurst Park? I want to see Patrick Vieira as well. Kick on a little bit more with this team. He seems to be in a status quo with Crystal Palace. Okay, next one, Gary. Southampton at home to Wolves. Tony, this is the second who gives a F game of the week. Southampton 20th versus Wolves 15th, Gary.
This is the problem with these teams in the bottom half of the table. I mean, Wolves had a really nice game, yes, but it's Liverpool. So is it that it was just Liverpool, or is it that they're actually playing better? You know what I
Never
mean?
thought we'd say that, huh?
Right.
This
So
season.
so it could be a close one. It is in Southampton. I don't know how much travel it is for Wolves, but I'm going to go with a draw here. I just think it's just going to play. They're going to play down to
Pretty
Southampton.
decent amount of traveling,
Yeah.
from the middle of the country down to the toe of the UK.
Yeah.
You're going to go for Wolves? Is that what you said?
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen a lot from Southampton. I'd go for a draw there. Alonso?
Oh,
One,
perfect
1-1
timing.
for me. Hmm?
So if this Tony's, I
I really care.
this is my conclusion to my weekly. I could should do the match.
I care
Right.
deeply.
So I mean, the Wolves are a good run right now. And like Leicester, I want to see Wolves stay up. I think that I always like Wolves. I don't know why, but they're not like my favorite team. But I like to see Wolves stay up, and I like Ruben Neves is a good player for them. With that said, I think Wolves will win this game.
All right. Wolves get the win there for you. Next game up. There's a okay, let me preface this with Gary, who do you think, just where you see it now, who do you think is going to get fourth place between Newcastle or Tottenham? That team, let's say. That fourth place.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the fact that they have Harry Kane is still a plus for them. So that's the only, unless Newcastle can pull
You're
ahead even
expecting
more.
Son. You were expecting Son to step forward as well.
Yeah,
And get over his injury, maybe, you know?
I mean, Newcastle still has a game in hand on them. So
Yep.
as poor as they've been playing, because they haven't lost, but they've only won once in the last last 5 matches. So
Yep.
I mean, and they're playing Bournemouth, right? That's right. Yeah, they're playing Bournemouth.
They
So
should beat
they
Bournemouth.
can't get a win at Bournemouth. Then yeah, they're really struggling, and that could make it or break it for them. Just because at some point those draws turn into losses if you can't start getting wins, right? So, I mean, they've had 3 0-0 draws in the last 5 matches.
Newcastle.
Yeah, so they're.
I think here's the thing: if you can score goals in this league, you can start winning games. And Newcastle draw too many games. Yeah. Tottenham, that team, are going to start scoring goals and winning games. They'll probably win slightly more than they lose in the next 15.
When you think about it, that team has 7 losses to Newcastle's 1, and is only a point behind them. So that's just telling you that it shouldn't even be that close, but it is.
Yeah, it's the amount of wins that have really helped them be there to close that gap. For the 6 extra losses that they have, they've got two wins, which helps bridge that 6-point gap. So I think Newcastle will beat Bournemouth. I think that team are probably slightly stronger than Newcastle, so probably favored right now for that 4th spot. Yeah. Alonso, both things, Newcastle, Tottenham, which is the better of the 2 teams right now?
I think, like Gary had said, going attacking really helps out Tottenham. I hate saying that because they're a rival. I think Newcastle, they have players that are kind of still new to the league, so they don't have that quite down yet. Like for us, we have Vieira, we have who's new to the league. But I think, like Stan was saying, that he's going to be good. He's going to get good once he understands and gets more playing time. And I think that's with Newcastle's issue is that their owners have bought, or they have bought a lot of new players that aren't used to Eddie Howe's system. Whereas Conte knows his players and knows his formation, so they're better fitted. They're fitted for the game, and I think they depend too much on Son and Kane.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a lot of
Always have,
secondary.
yeah.
They don't have a lot of secondary scoring, and where Newcastle, like I said, they like a natural striker. Where they bought asset, they bought a lot of the players who they think they can help them out. But at the end of the day, I think it also comes down to leadership as well.
Yeah, it's fascinating right now. You have a team that has the best goals against in Newcastle, but you also have a team who has scored 41 goals in their 22 games, so they can score goals as well. Gary, Leeds at home to Man United with a strange fixture schedule, rescheduled games. They play them again for the second time in a number of days.
If their trend is consistent, meaning like the last 5 matches they've won or lost, so they've drawn or lost back, in every other they've they either draw or they lost back-to-back times. So if the trend continues, then they're supposed to lose this one.
Who, Leeds or
Yeah,
United?
Leeds is supposed to lose based on the way they've been trending the last number of matches. So
Right.
it's time for
Yeah.
a little
Draw
bit.
loss. I see it.
So it's if you can get a little bit of chaos, meaning that they do continue on from where they stood. They probably should have got the win in the last one, and they could have lost that one as well. So why not go home onto that kind of like weird scenario and just get the win now? That'd be really good. They've shown that they can play against them. They might need to be able to jump ahead.
Yeah.
And continue, and then have the crowd help them finish it off. But
it's always
because
difficult.
United's going to come in and they're going to want to quiet that crowd early. So
yeah, and the stadium can be quite intimidating for a visiting team. It's a local Lancashire derby, I think, of more a Roses type derby. But yeah, Leeds. It's always difficult as well when you play each other twice in a number of days. There's no secrets now between the two teams. It's going to be whoever wants it more. United got off to a bad start in that game and then conceded an own goal, and they had to come back. So United fans are thinking we did really well to come back from 2-0 down to draw the game. But on the flip side, there should probably never been 2 goals down to start with. So predictions, I think probably United get away with the win in this one. I hate to say it, but United probably win the game against Leeds. Gary, you think so as well?
I think Leeds will get. Yeah, because I wanted to smile.
I would love Leeds to do it again. You know what I mean? The Queen ducked Leeds over, with the scheduling. How does a hospital run out of rooms? And Tony looks like he's going to be stuck in the ER all night. So our thoughts and wishes are with you. Best wishes are with you, Tony. So stay strong. Take care of yourself. And hope you come back stronger to us. Alonso, Leeds at home to Man United.
Stay strong, Tony. So I think it'll be a draw again. I think that I wanted to Mr. Tom happy. Just seeing him sad and all that stuff on Gary's podcast is not a pleasant sight. And I understand when their team loses. So yeah, I mean, you know what? I'm going for a win. I think Leeds can learn from their lessons and defend better, and I hope that Leeds beat United. I mean, the better for us, right? So
Love it. Yeah.
I
Not
think
that United, we're in a position now where we're so far ahead of these teams. It really doesn't matter. It only matters about what we do as Arsenal. Leeds should just play the top 6. They do tend to get up for the bigger games for sure. Beating Liverpool away from home, beating Chelsea at home. They should have beaten Arsenal at home. How did Leeds play us, Raymond? Well, we got lucky, Tony. We got very lucky in that game.
Ray,
We got
do you prefer Ray or Raymond?
Ray. He's just trying to needle me. I don't know. He's just trying to be he's respectfully needling me. But it's all good. You can call me Raymond. Either
I
or.
feel comfortable calling you Ray.
Man City at home to Aston Villa. Who wants to go first? Alonso?
Where's the game at?
It's at the Empty Head.
Oh,
My nephew's going. I think City will beat Aston Villa at home. But then, we thought City could beat Tottenham last weekend. So
can I go
Yeah.
Can I go first, Gary? Right.
Huh?
So I think that sometimes Villa somehow they come out for the big games, at least for me they do. So for me, I still value Tyrone Mings as a good center back, and I have a feeling this could be an upset. I don't lie, but I feel that way.
You're going for long shots.
I need them.
Yes, you do.
So I have a feeling that I think Man City they look kind of vulnerable, and this is before the news came out. They don't look that great at the back. I think the bust up between Cancelo and Pep Guardiola kind of tricked the team a little bit in a way. So this game can be tricky for them. I think Villa can win this game.
Man City win the game. Okay. Gary?
No, Villa win the game.
Who? Villa?
Villa.
You think Villa's going to win the game?
Yeah, I don't know why I had something.
I love that. They were 2-0 up, I think, at the Etihad last May, and they let it slip. Gary, I think City will win. Alonso's going for Villa. He needs the points.
Well, they went to the toilet bowl and got a 2-0 win. So they, as you guys said, they play up for the big team. So, and we just saw what happened to City when they played that team.
Yeah.
So they're not really too concerned. Like if Liverpool had a terrible loss to Leicester City last time they played, so maybe they should redeem themselves. So why not more chaos? Ta-da! Maybe they get the prize win.
Gary likes chaos.
Gary
Gary
like
is
chaos elsewhere, but then it's up for us. So yeah,
no roller coasters for Arsenal. This
no,
season.
none of that stuff. Yes.
All right. Gary, I'll stay with you. Liverpool. This is going to be interesting. The Merseyside derby, Liverpool at home to Everton. Liverpool fans are not confident.
If Everton's going to do that to us and then waste it by not doing the same to Liverpool, then I'm disappointed in them. You know what I mean? I'll be disappointed in them. So
Yeah.
I you know what? Yeah, hit them again. Hit them while they're down because you might not get that chance again, right? So
Poor Liverpool.
Everton needs the points more than Liverpool does. So more chaos for them. For more, yeah. So
Liverpool fans have become confident in their team over the last few seasons and have been dismissive of other teams other than City. And listen, every fan base is going to have it. Every fan base is going to have these fans that are too loud, too noisy for rival fans. They get too cocky.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Tony had to sign his life away, so he's probably signing some important documents right now as we speak. Yeah, Everton should come into Liverpool and win that game. We don't know who Liverpool are right now. Alonso?
Is the game against the Port, right? Or is it?
It is at Anfield.
Oh man, I think this could be it needs to be a draw. But as they say, you never walk alone, right?
You can literally walk across the park from Goodison Park to Anfield. There's a little park in between the two stadiums.
So you can't walk alone. Yeah, right. So I think Everton need to continue new manager bounce. They bullied us, so I think that bullied I wrote down the Liverpool team. They got the talent to do so. I think. I think it will be played well. I think Dominic Billy Cohen has to play well too. He has to play well too. So he's finally healthy, and so I think Everton can give Liverpool a hard time. So I take a draw.
Okay. Gary says that as I'm about to piss in a handheld urinal. Hey, take care of your business, Do what you gotta do, Tony.
You know what? Sometimes we just don't need to know. It's all right.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell us.
All right. We're behind you, Tony, though. Not literally, but figuratively, we're behind you. Hoping you stay strong and take care of yourself. Okay, Gary, we'll get out of here in a moment. One quick thing about Zinchenko, he's been named Player of the Month. Arsenal Player of the Month.
Yeah. You know what?
Zinchenko.
He's been played really well for us. I guess I don't notice it as much as others do, but I know.
How could you not notice it?
Not like where I go, oh, okay, he's been like his name's come up, and I guess because of where I look on the pitch.
Right.
So, and I don't look that
There's
far back
more.
on the line.
I think there's more to Zinchenko than you see on the field.
Well, there's been a lot of talk about with his comments, but I don't think that's why he won it. Right? He's won it more because of what he's done on the pitch for the team.
Yeah.
And you notice when he's not up to snuff or when he's off the pitch. So, he's been doing really well, and that's what we expected to get from those from the City players that have come in. They both have helped out the team in more ways than just their what they've done on the pitch. So locker room and all of that, mindset, all of that's been different. So it's good. You got recognized for it.
Yeah, listen, that elite mentality, you can bring it with your talents and you can show it on the field.
Yeah.
But when you go into a new club in the summer and you tell players, no, we're not looking at top four. You're good enough to be competing with the Cities at the time, the Liverpools and whoever else is up there. Push that extra 5 or 6% that you can get from every game. Extract more points than you feel that you can attain, and adjust your sight. And I think Zinchenko's done all of those things for us. The elite, you can bring elite talent, but you have to bring an elite mentality as well, which drives the rest of the club forward. And the players who are doubting now believe, Alonso, Zinchenko.
Yeah, Zinchenko, when he came in, there was questions about his injury record, I think. And so in the beginning of the season, they had Arteta had to play him and or Tierney at the left back position. And I think it's a good thing. Unfortunately, Turney's been hurt as well. So it's about capturing the moment, right? And, you know, we had two good left backs, and I think you guys are right whenever you say Zinchenko has got that winning mentality, and so has Gabriel. But I think CD took Zinchenko for granted. Um, because I think they let him
Yeah.
go because they didn't value him, at least from where I see and heard and saw. So yeah, I mean, he's a great player, and I'm hoping that we don't have to use him in midfield because of how good we're playing. But I'm just curious to see if it ever gets to that point where Arteta use him there. Because I think he could do a job there too. But he brings a lot to his team. He brings emotion and passion.
Yeah.
And we haven't had that prior to last year a lot. It started, but we never really had to gotten it to it because we weren't winning the games we needed to. And me, it says like Zinchenko that care and who've been there with City that I think helps the team a lot. And this team has emotion is pretty cool too.
Hmm. Yeah. Listen, great points, especially the fitness that we were talking about at the start of the season. I know Tony was very worried about his injury record. While you were saying all those things, Alonso, I checked on their stats. Sinchenko started. Sinchenko has played 13 games out of the 20 games we played now, and funnily enough, Tierney has played in 15 of those games, but a lot of those could be substitutions. So they're pretty much sharing appearances. If probably the minutes for Zinchenko is a lot more, but yeah, well deserved player of the month. More maybe because of the emotion, you know, that he's brought through in this month of January. Big wins against United and big wins against Tottenham. Um, any other points, Gary, to mention before we go? And we'll plug your show on Saturday as well.
Yep. Yeah, nothing else. I mean, we talked a lot. So yeah, no, we need to get the 3 points. We need to right the ship. We've fallen the last two times we played. So let's get a win. We need those 3 points. We need the 3 points. We need a win. We don't need to come out and play the way we've been playing. So we're going to bring back whatever we have. I think if Nelson is on the bench, then we've got another answer there. If Trossard's on the bench, then we've got an answer there.
Yeah, we've got it. We're gonna have a couple of options on the bench. It will be either Martinelli or Trossard. It will be maybe a Fabio Vieira. It will be Reece Nelson, maybe attacking options. Because we're gonna have to go score goals. We want to win games.
Yep.
And like you said, I think this is a very important game. In some ways, this could be more important than City. And we need to look at the next game. The next game is Brentford. I think Brentford will come, whether it's a good thing or not, Brentford will come in good heart, unbeaten in 9 games. It may play into the fact that they want to open up and play the game, and that might actually help us because we're not really good against the low block. I don't see them coming and defending like Newcastle. They have good, hard, committed players that will work hard for the team. But I think we'll get that win 3-2. It might be an entertaining game. Some of us maybe just want a clear-cut win. Thanks for watching. Well, Alonso, you've got final points as well.
Yeah, like Gary has said that we need 3 points because we know how Everton game was. I mean, you kind of know where the game is going to be at the first half and how it's going to go. There's no fluidity during that game, so I'm assuming that Arteta will be smart and make adjustments during the game against Brentford. They're a good team, and we treat it like it's a League Cup final. or cup final, and carry that into Wednesday because I know it's going to be a game for Arsenal. But right now, we need to carry that momentum that we have been all year prior to Everton. This is an important game, especially at home. The crowd's going to be up for it. I think that we have enough leadership also to get us through. Ivan Toney is a great player for them, and it's up to our defense and Ramsdale to get them pumped up. And I think it's up to the midfield. I think Xhaka and Party do a good job. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, there it is. We said it all tonight. Thanks for joining me tonight, Gary.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for joining me, Alonso, tonight.
Yep.
Check out Gary Saturday. What are you going at, 10 or 11?
So it's a weird one because it is our match is at 10. I think I usually have my show at 11. So I'm probably gonna still keep my show at 11. So I'll watch
You
the
get to
first
see
half.
the first half.
I'll watch the first half, and then the second half I'm gonna watch it while we have the show. It's kind of what we do anyways.
Yep.
So I'll be doing that while the game's on, and then we'll keep the scores on the other ones as well. So
Okay.
if you guys want to join us, you can on Saturday morning. So
check out Gary over on DWTT. Search for that,
sir.
you'll find it.
I've been doing some, just for those who don't know, I've been doing what I call my From the Car segment as well. So on the Wednesdays, I'll push out a video from the car with my thoughts of what's going on.
There is
it before work or after work?
That's before work.
Before work.
Yes.
I mean, he gets it in. You know what I mean? Gets it in before.
Because on my I have like an hour drive, so on my hour drive, I might listen to a podcast or whatever, and so you have thoughts about things that are going on. So then,
Tony's right. Zinchenko's Player of the Year. Hey, Tony, stay strong. We shall see you on Sunday. There's a big game, Alonso, on Sunday, so we might go a little early on Sunday.
So I forgot something. On Wednesday nights, don't forget to tune in to Full Nelson podcast, hosted by Tony and Mr. Tom.
All right, listen, we'll get out of here. Thanks, Stan, for joining us earlier. Alonso and Gary, of course. 3 points. I think it's a very important fixture to turn the tide against that ugly, ugly defeat. We're out of here. We'll see you Sunday. Take care, everyone. Come on, you guys. Let's get this 3 points against Brentford. And